Welcome to the Thunk Tank. Come in the tank. We're thinking, and we're drinking,
And we're thunked.
and we're thunked.
Oh my god, I'm probably more beer than man if we go far enough back at this point.
And the Thunk Tank is alive and tanking and wanking. Joe, you take over the intro for this one.
In a world where legends live, one creature rises above them all. This is where you cue the crazy music.
are a Squatchologist. You are very serious about this.
Yeah.
You believe Bigfoot exists.
Beliefs for stuff you can't see, I know they exist.
You know he exists, and
They.
they exist. There's more than one Bigfoot.
They're a species. They're like a primate. Probably in the Homo genus.
Right. Okay, so you...
Oh, the best part of that is
Yeah,
he goes
probably.
probably in the homo, and then he's trying to say genus,
Yeah.
but he goes like homo genos.
Who's that guy?
Can we listen to that
a-
again? Because in the beginning, I think he said, it doesn't say belief. He says believe, which is the wrong form of that word, right?
It's not. None of it is great grammatically.
So
for
this
sure.
guy, this was an interview from Conan O'Brien's like show or whatever. This guy, he has a real name, and he, by the way,
He has
he
a real
opens
name.
this interview. Conan calls him by his real name. He goes, "I prefer if you call me Bobo." And Conan's like,
Bobo.
"What?"
Isn't that the guy that
he's
you
like,
met,
only,
Johnny?
Only judges and my mother call me John.
No,
Like-
Bobo. Jeez, that's a hell of a list.
Didn't you guys meet Bobo?
Bobo was on the on the same show, I believe, as the. So I've met an actual Bigfoot expert.
Not an actual Bigfoot, but
This
an
is our
actual
Bigfoot cast, by the way,
expert.
folks. If you're tuning in, we're gonna like delve
Cliff-
into the Bigfoot conspiracy and
We're
figure
gonna
out
delve
what's going
into
on.
Bigfoot, big feats, all the hits.
Yeah, Big Pimpin', Pimpfoot, all that.
So you met that Bigfoot hunter, though, right?
Cliff Brockman.
did.
He owns the North American Bigfoot Center.
Yeah.
What is the acronym for
does.
that?
That's a place.
It's a
one,
hell of a
and
place.
where
it's
is it?
the NABC.
It's actually in Boring, Oregon.
It is.
It's literally in a place
It's in
called Boring, Oregon.
Yeah,
and
As in boring
sure
a
the
hole
people-
through your brain.
pretty much.
I'm sure the people are nice, but I drove through Boring, and that was the only thing I noticed.
How was it?
It was amazing.
Oh,
But
It was pretty neat. Yeah.
That was not
the
what
guy
I was
has
expecting.
the
Yeah.
guy has a lot of casts.
No, I'm kidding. We love our
footprints.
fans in Boring Oregon.
He has a lot of footprint casts and like actual artifacts discovered. Like there's this thing where Bigfoots will take tree branches and like twist them, and they'll like break up like a bamboo or like a wicker kind of a thing into a bunch of fibers, but they don't like snap. Then they like twist these trees still connected and stuff. And like the argument is you would need thumbs or some kind of hand. Like a deer isn't twisting a branch.
What about a big
like that?
stick?
Or they'll wrap a branch around and make like a knotted thing out of them. And so he had stuff like that. He had a lot of footage and some life-size replicas of Bigfoots. It was very legit. And I spoke to the guy, and he seemed genuine. Like he didn't seem.
Oh, I
like,
believe that. I believe
yeah.
that he believes for sure.
and he didn't seem crazy either. He seemed very normal.
Well, he very well might be. I mean, there's, as you're saying, he's presenting this in a very plausible way, right? Like what you were saying about the twisting of the bamboo. Isn't that one of the big Bigfoot sort of points of evidence? This idea that, well, only a Bigfoot could do that, right? Because we were watching the other night, Tommy and I. That's why we sort of thought, how have we not done a Bigfoot cast yet? And they were saying how these big trees, the big feet, bend them or snap them, and they point towards the direction that humans are supposed to go. That means that they don't want you entering that territory.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the border. And they were showing a bunch of them along this road, and their argument was, well, you would need to be really tall in order to do that, taller than any human. And why is there consistency to this? You can go all up and down this road and you see them every 100 yards or so. Who's going out into the woods and doing that for miles and miles and miles and miles, right?
Regularly.
His argument also was that this could be a newer just fad that younger kids do, and younger people. But then you look at these trees, and this was done like decades ago.
Right,
in remote
yeah.
areas where roads weren't there yet.
Yeah, some of them are now
well, the
rotted
deeper you
trees.
get into
Yeah.
any of these type things, whether it's UFOs, Bigfoot, fake moon landing,
UFOs, which are also now
you
real.
will find information
They are,
that
yeah.
appears to confirm the belief that your brain's trying to form. So it's worth being careful about the whole like.
Yeah.
If you watch a bunch of what did I say on the chat today? Like we decided to do Bigfoot at like 2 p.m. today, and then I taught, and then I just watched some YouTube videos, and all I can say is I believe in Bigfoot more than before I watched any videos about Bigfoot, even the detracting kind.
Well, the one thing that you can say as a starting point is that because some Bigfoot things have been proven to be hoaxes where people admitted, I went out and did that, we can say as a fact that some of that, not all of it is obviously Bigfoot's, right? Or
yes,
big feet.
It's just like ghosts. A lot of it's been proven as people spoofing people.
But it doesn't mean that all of it is.
Yeah, it would be logically incoherent to say, therefore, all claims about ghosts are false. It's like, no, that's a jump.
It's crazy to say all are true or all are fake.
We watched that Jane Goodall video where
that's the challenge.
She was asked, Jane Goodall is that lady that studied the chimpanzees, like lived among the chimps in the fucking forest.
She's out of her mind, but go on.
She's a little bit out of her mind, as would anybody who lived with chimpanzees, who are also out of their mind.
You're not supposed to live with chimpanzees. They don't accept you as like a family member. She was just lucky they didn't eat her.
No, I mean wasn't she always on like the outskirt? Like she wasn't like grooming with them or something like that.
Yeah, but like,
wait, wouldn't she be a Bigfoot?
She just got lucky that the politics of the tribe could have gone in. Well, hold on, because I want to talk about Bigfoot alien connection later, and. That's where that conversation belongs.
I didn't know that
what
was
we are, what we are to them, and what they are to us, and what aliens are to us. Like that's all for later in the cast.
Jesus.
We'll get there.
God,
I'm glad you got that trajectory.
I feel like I have a pretty good.
I'm back in now. You convinced me.
I think I'm the most reformed conspiracy theorist out of us. Because I used to be pretty into them, and I think I'm pretty skeptical of them now. But this is one that the more it's like you said, Luke, the confirmation bias is always a risk. But this is one of the few topics that when I look into it, I do start to think, maybe. Whereas a lot of other stuff, I start thinking, no, this is bullshit. This doesn't make sense. Like it's inconsistent. Like, a lot of theories fall apart if you go too deep. Like,
are there any others
like
that
the government paid 10,000 people to pretend they saw a plane hit the buildings on 9/11? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, there's no way. The logistics of that are impossible.
Yeah, but that's
so a lot of those crazy theories fall apart.
Yeah,
but something about Bigfoot.
There's degrees
just,
to which
I'll tell you what I think is the thing about Bigfoot that makes it so that people want it feels more natural to believe in. It's because it's like you're not saying aliens or magic or something that nobody can explain. It's like you've seen monkeys on the news, right? We're just talking like a big version of that, and there's almost like only like 1,000 of them at most left.
But also that they thought kind of
and they're
existed,
smart.
Right?
They're smart, so they just don't want to fuck with humans.
But I mean, wouldn't a Neanderthal have basically? If you saw a Neanderthal today, wouldn't you think that's a Bigfoot essentially?
They weren't that.
No,
big.
I don't think they were that big.
They
weren't 8 foot tall.
They were. They were.
Have you met?
They
any?
were under 6 foot. They were
shorter.
Oh,
they were stockier.
But were there
smarter
other creatures?
I wouldn't want to fight one if that's what you're getting at.
Creatures like that
Joe,
in ancient times that were bigger?
They're pretty sure that there was a hominid called Gigantopithecus.
That's what they think Bigfoot is, right?
And that's what they think Bigfoot is. And they think theoretically that ape could have evolved into like a forest-dwelling giant ape. And if Bigfoot was real, that's probably what he is descended from.
Right.
The idea, though, that he went extinct like hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Right. Like many of them.
They went extinct like 100,000 years ago. But the argument is, well, we've thought other animals are extinct, and then you find them in like Australia or like in Southeast Asia. It's like, oh, we thought this bird was dead for 300 years or 200 years, and then we found it. Or like the platypus. They thought it was fake for a long time. And even when they got a sample of one in Europe, they're like they were convinced when we look at it, we'll find they sewed a duckbill onto a beaver or something.
Well,
and then they were like, "Oh shit, this is a real animal."
Yeah, a good example of that too is the colossal squid, right? Because the colossal squid, that's something straight
Mythical
out of the sailor stories of mermaids,
mythology,
and, all that crazy shit. And it turns out no, there are these, and they've only really discovered those, I think, pretty recently. The colossal squid, where
last few decades,
and they inferred that they must be around from the scars and stuff that they saw in whales who would battle them.
Who knows what kind of like serpents our ancient ancestors had to deal with?
So here's the thing, and that's part of the point that
Aladdin level like serpents.
Well, you hear that we've only explored 5% of the oceans, so of course there's colossal squid out there that we didn't find.
What do you think
recently.
enters into my nightmares from the ocean of subconscious below my awareness?
Yeah, well, if there's a colossal squid, I don't see why there can't be a Bigfoot in the deeps of the forest.
Well, that's what I mean. We have more of a respect for the depths of the ocean than
it's more alien.
the depths of the
that's
forest.
not our realm. That's not our realm.
the forest is our realm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the forest,
used to seem much more impenetrable than it is now. Like forests used to have wolves, like artificial light. You used to have to keep a fire going. If it started raining and the wolves found you, like, you're fucked. You got to fight off a bunch of wolves in the dark now.
It
was some scary shit. Like woods are always, every fairy tale, the woods are the scary place.
Yeah.
No, it's true. I remember feeling that growing up. I had 2 acres of woods behind my house that my bedroom window looked out at.
That's terrifying.
And
is that why you are the way you are?
I'm sure a lot of things about my childhood are why I am the way I am.
But that's a factor.
That's one of them, maybe. I remember I always had this recurring nightmare of like getting stuck in those woods and having to like run through them before the demons got me.
That's terrifying.
Oh, God,
that's terrifying today as a 30-year-old
that explains a lot.
And then it happens every time right before I wake up to this day.
Give me another beer.
But so we've limited a lot of the range because a lot of forests are inhabited or at least traversed by humans now. But you think about it, okay, so a third of all U.S. Bigfoot sightings are in the Pacific Northwest. Washington State has most of them. Oregon has a lot too, and Northern California as well. No, so that's the other weird thing. Every society and culture has some type of Bigfoot character.
Yeah, I saw James Goodall talking.
Every
about
continent has one, right?
All right.
Every not only just every continent. Like there's the swamp apes of Mississippi and Florida. There's Yetis and Wendigos up in Canada. There's like even throughout. There's the Chupacabra has been considered linked to.
I saw a guy who
probably just a
coyote
with leprosy.
He had a chupacabra tongue in his freezer.
Huh.
Yeah, he should not eat that, whatever that actually is. It's a coyote kidney or something.
Yeah, there's one thing we know for sure. Do not
the news
eat the
guy was like, he pulled it out of the freezer. He's like, and this is a
Yeah.
chupacabra tongue. And the news guy was like,
Yeah.
okay.
No, it's probably some coyotes. Chupacabra, I think, is like a coyote who gets its face ripped off in a fight with another coyote, and it's still alive. So it's running around making howling death sounds. And when you see that, you're like, well, that's a demon creature.
Yeah, you're like, I already believe in the devil. So.
But that's something that's easily like mistook. Like the Bigfoot is its own thing. You're not going to be like, no, I thought that was an ape man running upright. Oh, it was a deer or a moose. Like that's not something you're going to easily confuse.
Yeah,
but so most of the sightings though are in the Northwest, which makes sense because that was the most pristine, biggest like natural area in American frontier up until the last 100 years, and it still is. There still
makes
are,
sense that they would retreat there,
right? And that there's stories from the native.
Don't say
cultures
right like that, Johnny.
There's
you made me want to believe more.
There's stories from the native Pacific Northwest, the First Nation tribes about these ape men like creatures and stuff. So who knows? Maybe they are extinct, but they've only been extinct for a couple of thousand years.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's as simple as the fact that there's only a few hundred left. There's plenty of species.
The other thing is the theory is there's only ever been a few hundred. Is they have these broad ranges, these giant range of because they're low key. They've been hiding from the Homo sapiens for a couple of 100,000 years because they know where the.
I just don't buy that. Like you got the NSA, CIA. Like
they know.
Someone's gonna spot them. You think they just allow it?
Yeah.
You think they're going to tell you about it?
Yeah.
That's the other
Why
sad
not?
thing. Is
Just
what
say,
if in the 60s, the CIA probably rounded them all up and then blended them up and did whatever they do to the things when
That's
they
why
find
McDonald's was so good in the 60s. Yeah.
So I personally
what happens if we feed our soldiers Yeti meat?
Yeah. Let's experiment with that. We got the syphilis experiments and then the Yeti.
How do you think they made
K-Ultra.
Captain America the Captain America serum? It's like 2 parts. Yeti blend, and then
Mostly
some,
ecstasy.
Methamphetamine.
Yeah, it's some ecstasy, some
Our registered
Molly, and then a
trademark
bunch of
Yeti
aliens,
blend.
and then a bunch of draconian stem cells that they lent us, and you can make a super soldier. No, I'm just gonna say where I stand on Bigfoot, and maybe it's gonna change by the end of this cast. I hope it does. I love my ideas being challenged, but I would like to say that I believe Bigfoot.
He's spoken like a true academic about Bigfoot.
that
about as legit as it
Bigfoot
comes.
was real, is real, but he probably died out within the last, I would say, 1,000 years. Sometime it could have been the last 50.
Which
like I
makes
said,
most
the
of what
CIA
I saw on
rounded him up.
YouTube fake.
That's true.
Well, but that's where I stand. I think he probably was real at some point, and they've died out. Yeah.
For anyone that's gotten this far and was like me earlier today, who knew like conceptually what Bigfoot was but didn't really know, anyone want to give like a really explicit definition? Because I actually had to Wikipedia this shit. I asked you yesterday. I was like, is Bigfoot and Sasquatch the same thing?
I think so.
It is.
Yeah.
But I had like Bigfoot was not on my radar at all until 2 p.m. today or whatever.
Yeah, it's almost like you have more important things to worry about in life, right?
Okay. Well, don't just be insulting now, because I spend a lot of time thinking about Bigfoot.
Oh, it's not an
I
insult
think
at
that was
all.
time
because
worthwhile.
I,
Great
am
listeners.
supposed to be preparing for something I have Tuesday, doing like research, and
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
should
oh,
really
I
be
have an
doing
excuse
work.
to research Bigfoot. There we go.
Yeah, I should be really doing actual work. It's the last week of
So
the semester.
Bigfoot, the Bigfoot we all know of was made famous in the 1960s by one video that these two cowboys filmed out in the woods.
Is that the one where he's strolling across
in
the creek
Washington.
or whatever?
Yeah.
It's the famous one
Yeah.
where I just sent it to you guys.
Yeah, we
The
just
one you
watched it, yeah.
watched,
Yeah.
where he's strolling along a river bank with that weird gait, and it's only a few seconds, but Bigfoot had always been a regional story in the Pacific Northwest, like a tale that the frontiersmen had and all that, which also makes sense with where they would have been pushed by Western expansion into the PNW. But anyways, this video, there's a scene where she because she's named Patty, they think it's a woman. She turns to the camera and with the arms like this, like a runner would be, one arm out in front and one behind, and that's where the image of Bigfoot comes from. Like when you see bumper stickers and T-shirts,
Yes,
it's
yes,
from that
yeah.
video. That's the earliest, best video evidence of it.
There's no doubt
Actually,
that it's a great
quintessential
turn.
emblem.
It's
I
lovely.
found a
It's
pro-
It's
really-
it's one of the best turns.
It's very
in
animalistic
cinema.
too. It might be some of the best acting that's ever happened.
Yeah. It's acting without acting.
It's acting without acting.
Yeah, it's
And yet it's all
fantastic.
acting.
That's a Curb reference for anyone listening that didn't get that because you're drinking Heineken like a jackass.
Oh God, we're not ready for that.
Oh, by the way, what are we drinking? Can we just say that real quick?
Oh, yeah, for
we
our
actually have
beer
some
podcast.
craft beer for this podcast. Normally during quarantine, folks, we've been drinking Miller Lights,
Well, water.
aka water.
You got to stay hydrated.
but
kids.
Gotta stay
we're
hydrated.
doing some
Kids don't
craft
drink
beer this time.
that.
So, Johnny, what do you have?
I have a beer from Portland, Hopworks Urban Brewery. Their Juicy Bear IPA, because it's got a big, silly, sentient-looking to me bear on the front.
Oh, that's Bigfoot, dude.
That
I
might be
saw
a good-
that.
That might be a
It's
good
a-
cover
it's a
photo
juicy
of
bear.
the episode right there.
Yeah,
And I like to think that Bigfoot would appreciate craft beer.
Great Notion
if I
has a
ever
lot
sit
of
down.
you can think
Yeti
that.
type art on their cans.
Big Notion, yeah, that's one that does a lot. They've done ones like specifically Squatch themed. They have a giant Sasquatch mural on the wall in their brew. There's a brewery here in Portland called Sasquatch Brewing.
Yeah, you're in the thick of it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I live obviously in Portland,
I
Oregon.
mean, Johnny
Where's-
might be compromised.
Where's
We
the
don't even
hottest
know.
spot though? Is it Vancouver Island?
That sounds right, Tommy. Have
think
you
it
done
is.
some research?
Of course.
Tommy's ready to go out squatching. How much would we have to
Absolutely.
pay you to go out squatching to do some real first-hand research for
What is
the
squatching
podcast?
though? Just camping in the woods?
It's
In
a
Sasquatch
it's a way of
territory?
life. Tommy, don't if you
Or is
have
it just
to
going
ask,
bare
you
feet
just want
and
to say.
following in the footsteps? of
Apparently,
Big
it's a
feet-
derogatory
Bigfoot.
term, like Bigfoot.
But Bigfoot,
That's actually a contested term as well, according to my research.
according to your
Because
research,
people use
yes.
it derivatively, like, "Oh, let's go squatching, bro," and they're not taking.
Well, they say it dismissively, like, "Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah,
don't let-
Bigfoot.
don't let Bigfoot get you." They're being, they're not being genuine.
Yeah.
But,
Let me throw out a question because I think I saw the categorization as Bigfoot being more of a folklorist thing rather than a conspiratorialist kind of person. Do you make a distinction there?
Well, are the same people who believe in Bigfoot the same people who are prone to believe in other stuff?
I don't know that data.
Yes.
But I guess what I'm getting at,
absolutely.
like, Johnny,
Yes.
would you think that there's a different emotional element to, like, this kind of Bigfoot folklore thing than, like, conspiracy government thing?
It's both, because there's the people who are like, my thinking is more the folklore is, I think it was real. These stories have a basis in something, and it's probably died out or it's gone, or there's one or two left that we're never going to see. But now the people who think Bigfoot's out there and they're hiding them from us, like somebody, is trying to suppress the truth about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Like the anti-Bigfoot lobby. That's where it gets
What if
conspiratorial.
There's an anti-Bigfoot lobby?
No. There's people who believe that, like I said, like the CIA rounded them all up and they're like in a Wookiee work camp somewhere, just being bred up for our experiments on like human-animal hybrid stuff.
I don't think you can have.
Like there's people who think that. There's also a pretty credible theory that.
You see how he's like more and more. He's like, well, obviously.
You guys are familiar with the idea that humanity is just an experiment ran by aliens, right?
Kurt Vonnegut covered that in Sirens of Titan.
Exactly. We're just some alien grad students, like poorly conceived idea of civilization
What
or
makes
whatever.
you think we're not freshmen?
Right. But so
like Elon Musk is the grad student.
No, yeah, I'm saying like the aliens running the experiment are just fucking around.
Oh, they're the grad students.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why we suck, because they're wasted grad students.
Oh, they're just playing with us.
Yeah.
I see.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, right.
So we're the rats in their experiment.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it's an experiment that has been running for millions of years, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I think I'm going to follow this whole ape thing. Like their brain size. Like I think I can really make something with these apes with some selective breeding." And then there was a few different, like, "Wow, these Homo sapiens are pretty aggressive, but I think they can come up with some cool shit." And then they were also studying the Bigfoots, and then they saw humanity expand and the Industrial Revolution and everything. It was like, "Oh, these two aren't going to work together anymore. I should relocate these Bigfoot somewhere to like an Endor type planet, where they can fit in ecologically, because I want to keep studying those big guys, but I don't want to fuck up my Homo sapien experiment." So that's why there's sightings and there's record of reports of it, but why you can't, there's like no evidence, there's no bones or anything left, there's just footprints in the dirt.
Yeah, that's what throws me off, is where are the bones? I don't understand how that's not an open and closed case.
There's a few theories about that.
Yeah, I need that answer, because that's actually, for some reason, that's my biggest hurdle in getting over why I don't believe in Bigfoot, is because show me the bones.
One is that they bury their dead.
They're what?
They bury their dead.
So you still find bones. They find people who are buried, thousands of years ago.
We found Osama bin Laden. Like, we can find Bigfoot.
First of all, they were really looking for him,
Okay.
and he was hanging out in a house, not 6 feet under the dirt in a rainforest. Like, that's really hard to pin down. So
give me your percentage right now, as we're in the middle of this conversation. Is Bigfoot real? Bigfoot is real. How confident are you in that? 100 is
I told
he's
you,
alive and well.
I'm confident Bigfoot was real. I'm pretty sure Bigfoots are extinct, but I would say I'm 90% sure Bigfoots existed.
But what would that have to do with any of the modern day Bigfoot like sightings? Because you said that before. You were like, "Oh, I think they were alive 1,000 years ago."
There might have been a couple left who just died out. There might have been a small colony in the Pacific Northwest who just died out in the last couple hundred years. The other reason why we haven't found any bones yet is because there's the elephant graveyard theory, is that they are more intelligent ape type, human-like apes, so that they know, like, when they're sick, they get sick or old, they kind of migrate back towards like the resting grounds or whatever. Or when one dies, you might burn the body and then bring the bones, or carry the body, or that they like have a spot that they like. What is it, like a Vase Dothrak? Right? Isn't that the city that they always go back to, the nomadic Dothraki? Like they have a point somewhere that they go, and you just have to. And they have such a wide range also that there's so few of them.
Yeah, it's like salmon or whatever. They go to the place that they were born in order to die.
It's where the phoenix rises from the fucking ashes place.
So the idea
the
is
rebirth
that,
place, the redemption place.
That makes sense if the idea is that they have these wide ranges, like a tiger, or like a Siberian tiger was like 1,000 square miles is just per one Squatch. they're going to need a place that they're naturally drawn to and able to be able to find mates and stuff and reproduce, especially if they're not reproducing often. So there's an idea that they have a resting place where their dead go, and if we just found that, we would find all the Sasquatch bones, and that's why it's so hard.
Well, here's another question too. What do you think the
lifespan
of a Squatch is too?
Oh, they probably live mad old. Chewbacca is like
Why would
100
you say
years
that?
old.
Do you think they live
Based on
centuries?
what?
Do you think they live half a century?
How long do
Do you think
chimpanzees
they live
live?
only 20, 30 years?
Chewbacca's like 100 years
How
old.
long
dude.
do we live? How long do monkeys live?
Monkeys in the wild,
Yeah.
I think like
Turtles live
20 years,
hundreds of
20 years or
Yeah, they
20
don't
or
live
30
that long.
years.
Why would you think a Sasquatch
But in
is living
captivity,
like a
they
turtle?
live
I don't know. Why wouldn't they?
Why? Well, you don't know how they've evolved.
Why
It
does
depends on the
Rico
monkey
track-
too.
I don't
Like
know.
I think
when you buy
I
back,
think
Maybe
orangutans.
they only
Cancer
live
shit like
5 years.
anyone
I
else.
don't know.
you don't know that.
Well, they're not smoking
I think
camels.
it depends on the animal though, because like a healthy human can live to like 80 without modern medicine.
That's true.
You know, before their body breaks down.
Yeah.
So that would be like in captivity. So who knows though with a Squatch? Because I also think orangutans live longer than like chimps.
I actually, Johnny, I
They have more sex,
I
that's
have,
why.
I have an answer for why they're. It sort of consoles your idea that they existed and they're now extinct, but why there are still sightings, which is personally what I think as much as I think it, which is that, yeah, they probably did exist a long time ago, and the sightings are all just ghost sightings of Sasquatch spirits.
So now you're believing in ghosts.
No, I'm believing in Sasquatch
ghosts.
spirits.
Only them
Squatch
get spirits?
For now.
Not Ben
I haven't-
Franklin?
I'm still developing my world theory. No, he died of syphilis. He's done.
No ghosts for syphilis death?
No, he's done. He's done too much damage.
No syphilis
He's
spirit.
wreaked too much havoc. Ben
How
Franklin.
tall do you think, if Sasquatch is real, how tall do you think they are?
I think they're supposed to be like 8 feet tall, right?
Yeah, so like that's why I brought up the Patterson video, because a lot of people have drawn from that to draw their dimensions, and because they got footprints in the sand where it walked. So they say based on the video of its gait and the size of the foot and the depression in the sand where it pushes and its weight distribution,
That's what they do with dinosaurs.
they're able to extrapolate like how it carries itself, the size, like how big its pelvis and its shoulders are and stuff. There's a professor I went deep on this. There's a professor of anatomy and
odds?
anthropology at Idaho State named Jeff Meldrum.
I know
And
Meldrum.
Great guy.
I read his
Do you?
paper today.
Like sharing
I
his
sent him
vibe.
to the group, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. He's a legit like academic.
You really didn't
And-
do work today, did you, Luke?
I mean, I was legit reading this stuff while teaching, I'll be honest. I had the laptop like out of camera angle.
Oh, God.
But he says he uses it in his anatomy class to you can the individual muscle groups you can spot as the ape is turning. You could just he's convinced there's no way that's a costume
Because,
it's
like,
just too well
for example, the
defined,
distance
especially for the
between
60s.
the elbow to the shoulder, right? He was
Yeah,
saying, like,
the
you
different
can't fake
groups,
that.
the traps, the
Yeah.
delts, like all these groups were like, even like now with modern Hollywood type stuff, sure you could have someone like mold maybe a perfect costume, but in the 60s, like they didn't have like they were just two random cowboys who had heard about Bigfoot and purposely went, they're like, let's bring a camera, and went out looking for one, and they happened to spot one.
So you
And
would
then the
never
CIA
go
probably
and
came
do
and
that,
ate it.
though? You wouldn't go out squatching?
Oh,
or something?
I'm planning a Squatch trip actually.
What does
with
that
a
mean?
Squatch
I need all the
expert.
details.
I think you know her, our resident Squatch expert.
Is that your wife?
No, it's Annie.
Oh, our sister.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
you guys
she's
are going to go camp in the woods looking for
So there's a
I don't want to come,
Sasquatch-
but I want to watch the footage that you take from
Oh, I
that.
definitely
you'll get
wanna
to
watch
hear.
the
You'll
footage.
definitely hear the episode we're going to do, because she said she'll do an episode too. There's a Sasquatch psychic conference in Washington State this fall that we're going to attend, and we're going to try to plan a squatching adventure too, where we can camp in like a high incident area and try to see if we can spot something in the
Oh,
night.
shit.
Well, a lot of times you can just hear it.
Wait,
If you
how'd you
do the
guys get
Squatch
this?
calls, even during the day, you can get a return call.
Well, let me just say what the beer we're drinking. How'd you get this, Joe? This is the shout out to Don't Worry IPA
Yeah, I got that for a Christmas gift.
from me.
No, I gave you one as a Christmas gift. Piece of shit. You look so confused right now.
I just
No,
decided what
This
guys,
is from a
shut
place
up.
that, like, I think I gave this to you.
Not what happened.
Well, we're gonna drink it anyway. So.
Yeah.
This is a great story.
Anyways, let me just say the other beers. We're also drinking Softly Spoken Magic Spell by Single Cut. And then what's this one, Tommy?
A beard.
Beard, Dogs, and Boats.
It's pretty good.
Oh, shit. 9.1. The other one was 8.3.
This one's 5. So.
Right.
So, out of your Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Abominable Snowman, Yeti,
Oh fuck! I forgot about the.
I gotta
Abominable
say,
Snowman.
my favorite would probably be the Wampa from Hoth, but that's just me.
The Wampa? How does that... What is that?
The Wampa, it's got horns, man.
Isn't he just an
Sits in a cave?
What the fuck?
He's
is
pretty
it?
abominable.
Abominable.
Pretty
abominable.
I wouldn't
I
want to
can't
mess
say
with
it.
him.
Abominable.
I would say he's
Abominable.
moderately abominable. Yeah.
But there you go. There's a
He's the
perfect
guy that-
example of the aliens taking one of the species
Yeah.
and putting
Yeah.
him on another planet.
Well, so I already decided the workshop I'm going to take at this psychic Squatch convention, and it's called.
I
There's
love that
several
sentence.
workshops,
Yeah.
but the best one is
Probably
called
my favorite
connecting
sentence of the day.
connecting with Sasquatch and other interdimensional guides.
Yes.
So
Ooh.
there's a
See,
theory
that's
that's
what
why
I'm
he's
saying.
always
Sasquatch goes.
blurry. Yeah, that's why he's always blurry. That's why you just see
Yes.
him like briefly walking and then he's gone.
Yes.
because he's
That's
interdimensional.
one reason
He's
why.
walking through wood. He's walking through woods on
see?
multiple worlds.
Another reason would
right.
be that they're all spoof things, and if the photo weren't blurry, you would just see some guy named Frank in a costume.
Yeah, it's also entirely possible that people are just tripping on shrooms. That happens too.
It's all possible.
I don't
Who
know
knows?
that. So the Patterson Gimlin video, the one guy is still alive, and he said even a few years ago that he still believes he saw Bigfoot that day, and that making the movie ruined his life because people just don't think he's crazy and just ask crazy people talk to him about it constantly. So it's like the Bob Lazar thing. He's like, no, it sucks that this is what I'm famous for. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It makes my life harder, but I'm not going to backtrack it or recant it. Like, it is true. I stand by it.
Right.
What about the character of the people? Like if you take like a sample size of like the general type of crowd that tends to be Bigfoot people, do you read them as more honest or more like they're out of their mind? Because like some conspiracies, like flat Earth, seem to attract people that are more out of their mind, whereas
Yeah.
like some conspiracies are intelligent and like they're built up and like very thoughtful,
Well,
even
I
if
can-
they might
I
be
can
fundamentally
take,
wrong.
I can take Bigfoot people seriously even if I don't agree with them. Whereas flat Earth people, my reaction is either that
I've
A,
never seen anything compelling from that.
A, you're a troll, which I think a lot of them are, or B, you're crazy, and C, you're crazy, and or you just want to have a cool club.
Or D, they're a
drank too
troll
much
and they
of
don't
that
even know
Kool-Aid.
it.
Well, yeah, that's entirely
Like
possible,
troll is
too.
like running their operating system and they're busy being like,
Yeah.
oh, bagels.
Unconscious troll.
Right, yeah, the unconscious troll in the machine.
Well, that's
It's
because
one of
like
the Jungian
with
archetypes.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's a philosophical treatise.
with flat earthers, you can say, well, if you don't believe me, all you have to do is be smart enough to like get a copy of Euclid, like learn basic geometry, learn more advanced math until you can do
They
the
put
math
it all
yourself to figure out the earth is round. But like we haven't gotten there technologically yet with Squatch. If you had like a drone net that could LiDAR scan every square foot of the Pacific Northwest at the same time in real time, and you were just like, nope, no Bigfoot, I feel like you'd convince a lot of people. You know, if you had like a Starlink satellite network, we're scanning the whole planet, like a laser is going down North America with a Bigfoot filter on it, looking for him.
Of course they would say that, though.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we
Well, there
checked
you
with
go.
that giant laser and we fried them all. So
Have
were
you
right,
seen the
but-
laser?
Set the filter to too much
they're gone.
Sasquatch.
Yeah,
Do you know how lasers work? It was all state.
But I'm saying,
That's true.
I'm saying, if we get to the point where you can 3D print your own satellite drone at home,
I thought you were
going
gonna say
to
Sasquatch.
3D print my own Sasquatch.
3D print your own
Well,
Sasquatch.
I'll
do that.
Ooh,
But
what if
you
there's a
3D
West
print your own little satellite drone, and it just scans the planet, and it's just like making your own your own ham radio now. Same thing, right? You could do that and then be like, yeah,
Those
no
are all
Squatch.
instances, yeah.
Then I'd be convinced there's no Squatch.
Would you rather have like a baby Sasquatch, like a cute, like I saw a baby German Shepherd today? I was like, oh man, you're gonna turn into like a monster of a dog, like really capable of doing damage. But right now you're this fluffy little thing. What do you think a baby Sasquatch looks like? Is it like a 7-year-old, like a violent
Just a
7-year-old?
violent, hairy 7-year-old.
You're a furrier baby.
They're not
furry
violent.
7-year-old.
They're very gentle creatures.
docile.
Jesus.
They're
They've
docile.
there's no
on.
reports of them ever acting violently.
Why
That's-
would
that's-
they?
that's
They would
not what
blow
I've
up
heard.
their scene.
The best story I heard was this hunter got picked up in his sleeping bag. He was camping out. He was a trapper
up in Canada,
and he got picked up in his sleeping bag in the middle of the night. This was, I don't know, back in the 30s or 40s days. Or something, the olden days, and got carried a few miles to a Sasquatch cave
with a Sasquatch family,
and they kept him there for 2 days. And he just kind of stayed in the sleeping bag for 2 days because he was too freaked out to try to escape. And then after the second day, he was getting really hungry and thirsty, and he opened a bag. He had chewing. The only thing he had on him for food was chewing tobacco. He's like, I might as well like have some chewing tobacco because that's like the 40s, and that's a good decision in Canada.
It was
keep me.
And the Yeti saw it and took it and just like chugged all,
ate it all
because he thought it was just food and freaked out because that's what happens when you chug like chewing
and
tobacco.
rubbed his ball sack on the guy's face.
Well, and ran out screaming,
like freaking
of the
out.
cave, and the guy jumped out of his sleeping bag and ran. And the female, it was for Yeti. It was like it was the mom, the dad, and the two children.
I believe it's Yeti,
and it's pronounced Jedi. And the wife, the Yeti wife, chased him out. And he had a rifle with him the whole time, but it was stuck in the sleeping bag with him because you would sleep with a rifle, and he couldn't. He had to get out.
Squatches.
Yeah, he had to, and he was like, "I'm not."
It probably crossed his mind when he fell asleep with a rifle in his hands.
Well, he wasn't going to attack.
What is a bear going to grab the rifle out of your hands before it
shot
attacks you?
with one rifle, one of them comes at you.
But the Yeti wife or whatever,
mother
who chased him, the
the Yeti wife
who chased him.
Listen to you.
He turned the rifle on her and pointed at her, and she freaked out and ran
just
away
yelled and
because
ran
they're
away.
smart enough to know that they know to avoid people with guns. And she ran away, and then he ran into town and was like, "Boy, that was crazy." And I don't know what happened to Frank after that.
This is all his account of it.
That guy might have been.
It's an anecdotal account. But.
He might have been kidnapped by a bear, was delirious from hunger, and then panicked and like ran away and was convinced they were Squatches after. Because 2 days without food or water, and you're not sleeping,
just
and
chewing
bears
tobacco,
like walking around. Yeah,
chewing tobacco, no other.
You'll probably start hallucinating.
There's a lot of other and you have to consider
it's an anecdotal story,
You have to consider the other, the other tangential factors. If this was 80 or 100 years ago, who knows? His brain could have been rotting from syphilis. Also, he was dehydrated. He wasn't all there to begin with. He was
maybe he
older.
ate some bad food that put a parasite in his brain. We don't know.
Exactly. So you're right. Yeah, maybe a bear dragged him off, and
so that's the weird parallel. There's a lot of parallels between Bigfoot and aliens. And one of the weird ones is the sincerity of the stories. Look, there's people who have believable stories and people who have absurd stories, but like you can easily tell the cranks, like just people who are crazy, who think like hear voices, and people who are like normal, productive members of society who seem normal, and then you ask them, "Oh yeah, no, I totally saw a UFO."
Yes,
and
it's
tell
those
you the
people
story
that
dead
get
seriously.
my attention, yeah.
Like there's a lot of Squatch-like stories of that too. People who aren't like Squatch nuts, they're just like, "Oh, I was out camping, totally saw it," and they're just like dead serious. Their story holds up year after year.
That's
they're not gaining anything from it, and so that's a weird parallel there.
What prompted us to talk about it was we were watching Survivor Man, and Les Stroud, who's the sort of original,
the Survivor Man,
going out into the wild and doing Survivor.
Great guy,
quintessential.
Apparently he
survival guy.
He heard a Sasquatch when in one of his earliest episodes, I think when they were in Alaska.
It was Alaska.
He didn't mention anything in the episode because he thought it has nothing to do with the episode. It's not a Bigfoot episode. It's a surviving in Alaska episode. And he was freaked out by it, but he thought, well, I'm
not going to deal with it until it comes.
Yeah, that's going to derail the whole thing.
If it come in frame, yeah.
And he said, if it comes up, it will come up in more detail. But he said in hindsight, years later, when he was asked if he ever saw anything or heard anything, he said, on this Survivor Man episode, I heard these whoops, and I knew. He's like, I know the area. I was born and raised in Canada. It wasn't any bird. It wasn't any moose. I know what bear sounds like. He said it sounded.
He said he kept saying he felt like he was being watched that episode.
Yeah, he felt like he was being watched, and then he heard the sound, and he went back through and played the clips, and he says, "Watch, you'll see me in these clips in the episode. I jerk my head towards the
like
woods."
chopping firewood. And
Yeah, but that could have been any animal out there.
No, well, so that's the thing is that most.
But
people
he's
say-
Survivor Man. He's not a city slicking piece of shit like you, who thinks any sound in the woods is a
Well,
Sasquatch.
that's what he said.
And
He said
he also says
knows
he
the other
tries to be a
sounds.
skeptic too at this.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth when he says that, but still, and he still tells the story saying,
Well, that's
maybe it
what he
was.
said.
Of course, I'm skeptical on his
said it's
account.
not
As you
He
always
said
should
he
be
heard-
skeptical,
he
but
heard-
you never
he
know.
heard
Well, I
what
just mean
sounded-
like he has a clear Discovery Channel. Is that where it was?
Yeah, it was on
right?
Discovery. Yeah,
They of course know that if they have an avenue to somewhat play that angle up, they'll
No, that
take
wasn't
it
part of
because
the
it'll
episode.
It wasn't. No.
It wasn't part of the episode. It's just a story he told.
he ignored
years
it
later.
for
get years later,
It
or
was
years
like,
later.
Like
Oh,
10
I thought he
years,
told
yeah.
it like
No.
around the time of
No,
it.
it was
No,
about a
no.
decade later, I think, where he was just.
He was
asked-
on,
That
he was
makes
on,
it more convincing.
He was on Opie and Anthony, and they asked
Yeah.
him a question about, "Hey, have you ever seen Sasquatch?" And he said, "Well, and that's funny that you ask." And they started telling about the story.
That
and
makes
then
it more
took off.
convincing.
And he
I
said
thought
it-
like maybe it was like as part of the promo, like
No,
run
no,
for
no.
Yeah,
that
no, you
season
would
or
think,
something.
yeah,
but he said it was
no.
it was not any animal that he recognizes. It was a monkey like whooping like oh, oh, ah, like something more along those lines where he was.
That sounds
freaked
like a
out.
Joe monkey.
And there's not many Joe monkeys in Alaska that I know of.
I'm certainly not hanging out in the woods trying to freak out Survivor Man. I can tell you that.
So that's another weird thing about people who live in remote areas that have these encounters. They'll say things like that. They'll say, they heard a weird sound, and like they live in that area. They know animal noises. They're like, that's not an animal sound I've ever heard.
Right.
And or they'll find something weirdly, like at the North American Bigfoot Center. They had a story about the guy who he kept hearing this weird sound for a couple of nights, and then he went out one night because his dogs freaked out, and there was a baseball like sitting right on his porch there,
Oh, yeah.
and like it had clearly been thrown from the woods, like it had hit the wall and been thrown from the woods. It was like, well, a dog, like a wolf didn't bring it up,
Maybe
like a moose,
Maybe a
and deer
dog
can't-
threw it.
Or a drunk kid.
A dog threw a ball. Like, yeah,
Yeah, with their
you
nose.
need a hand to throw stuff.
Have you ever
Were
seen
they
the
a
So
movie?
seal?
I'm just saying. Let me just say. So he and then nothing, and then it goes away forever. So you got to wonder if maybe they're trying to communicate. Maybe they think that you're another Squatch. They don't know, or they think, oh, maybe you don't make the right call back, or you don't know what to do to communicate. So that's why it's these fleeting things where you hear them or you see them, and then you panic. Most people panic. Oh my God, it's Bigfoot, or they just freeze and don't say anything, and they go, okay, I guess I'll move on, and then they're gone, and that's why you never see them again.
What do you think
It's not
their
something that
intelligence
happens
level is?
multiple times.
They're allegedly highly intelligent.
They must.
What
to
is highly
survive.
though? Is highly like fourth grade math, or is it calculus? Like
I think calculus, but they lack some of the
the
communicative
building blocks to get there.
Yeah,
Would
like
they have language?
exactly. They might not have language as we do.
But they
might
have
not
a form
the
of
vocal cords
communication.
that we do.
They might be intelligent in ways that aren't as helpful in the world right now.
They
Yeah.
might be telepathic.
I would say my
Okay.
my favorite.
I got nothing to say as a detractor or a supporter of that.
They might.
Do you know what my favorite example of exactly that, Johnny, is one of the lesser known Philip K. Dick books for some reason, because I think it's one of the better ones.
So good. I know
which
what
is
you're gonna
A
talk
Crack
about.
in Space. If you're listening and you haven't read A Crack in Space, go read that right now, because I'm going to say a little bit about it just very briefly. Spoiler alert. It's basically about we discover another dimension, a parallel dimension to humans, but it's run by essentially Bigfoot people. And America and the humans immediately think, oh, how can we exploit them for financial gain?
Of course, yeah.
And
Check out this first edition paperback.
oh my God, that's amazing.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
and we immediately think we're just like, yeah, we're the superior species. That's what we're going to do. And then they just show up and take over. And we're in this position where humans are thinking, oh God, what do we do? We're
This
screwed.
civilization.
What
of
do you want to go
Sasquatch-sized
away? And they say, we'll take the
entities.
Smithsonian. We'll take all your greatest accomplishments just as a trophy, and we'll leave forever. And we just go, okay, sold. And because it turns out they're telepathic and they can just do whatever they want with their
Yeah.
minds, because they drive around in steam technology, and we're thinking, oh, we're better.
Well, it's
than
like
this.
if I hold a gun to your head, I'm like, I could pull the trigger. I could also just like take everything from your wallet, and you're like, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Like,
I got
gonna
your codes
argue with you?
I got your codes in my head already.
Yeah.
I already scanned your credit card in my telepathic brain. I don't need to even.
We're giving
engage
you an
with a
out
gun.
right now.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
So that's another theory is that one is the Squatches are these great ape descendants that are somehow still hiding out like a rare turtle we haven't found yet. The other is that they are these interdimensional beings or my favorite one is that they
Luke can't get over that hump.
Like think about it, Luke. Like if you're gonna go duck
ghosts.
hunting, or you're gonna go deer hunting, right? You're gonna wear camo that makes you look like a tree, so you blend in with the deer. Or
don't they wear like pink or like bright pink or something like that?
No, the orange is so other hunters don't shoot you. Their eyes don't see that color. That's what
I mean. They usually wear orange, right?
But the camo I'm talking about.
Oh, around the orange.
Yeah,
it's just like the whatever the like in the Northeast.
The orange is still invisible to them. But I'm just saying, like, what if like a Squatch, or here's a better example. In China, the workers dress up as pandas when they go into the panda cage, right? So they don't freak out the pandas.
Okay,
the pandas are kind of dumb, and they'll just be like, "Oh, there's a panda over there."
There's like a weird like a panda coming in. Yeah,
yeah. If they see a human, they're like, "That's a different thing," and it bugs them out a little. So they just dress up as pandas. Now, what if the Squatch was just kind of how the aliens would come down and watch us? And then once we started getting cameras and stuff and got a little too clever, they were like, okay. And we cut down a lot more forests. So, oh, we got to come up with something else.
It's like
what if the Squatches...
It's like the panda. You go into the cage and then it goes like, it goes and explores. It's like, oh, that panda suit's not real. It's just a human monkey thing in a panda suit.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas now if they want to see us, they can just tap into my webcam or download the podcast, please. Like, share, and subscribe, alien.
Hey,
going intergalactic.
Let me just
intergalactic Squatch alien.
I wanted to make a quick announcement to the intergalactic Squatch aliens. If you're listening to this, please like, share, and subscribe, and imbibe.
Riveting.
We would love to be broadcast across the galaxy in Squatch Galaxy.
That'd be great, yeah.
Don't you agree?
I would love to be live
As
across
the podcast lawyer, you should definitely be into this.
Yeah, wider audience.
Johnny, have I ever...
What if this... You like Graham Hancock, right, Luke?
I know of him. I don't know him enough to say I like him, and
Luke loves him.
I've never looked into the kinds of things he believes enough to know the degree to which it's...
So one of his themes in some of his books is that is that there's this like precursor society that has fallen, because a lot of ancient myths, things are always getting worse somehow. Like in the Greeks, we went from a golden age to silver to bronze to iron or whatever. And that like things are getting worse. There's this idea that we had this epic like advanced society like 100,000 years ago and it fell off. And that they like tried to spread civilization, and that's why like pyramids and like bows and arrows and like weird things survived everywhere. Was them trying to like give a kickstart to the next wave. What if the Squatches, because there's just stories of them on all continents, what if that was sort of, if anything, like a precursor race? What if there was a more advanced ape being that got wiped out from a cataclysm, like a solar flare event?
And a few of them just randomly survived.
Well, they were just like, we're in these big cities, we're going to get wiped out. They knew they were going to get wiped out, and they were like, but these humans are still living in caves and all over the place, running around chasing tigers and shit. Like they'll probably survive this event. And, more of them survived than the Squatches.
Have you read or seen or listened to anything by what was that guy's name? Robert Skoke and the other guy with the water erosion on the pyramids and
Robert Schoch and Graham Hancock. Yeah, I was just talking about Graham Hancock.
I'm all about coronal mass ejection theory. I'm all about
Yeah, I think it wipes out our civilization every few tens of thousands of years, and that's why humans are so clever. And we have to keep coming back.
And it really points to how I have very little trust in sort of the academic branch of archaeology and history, because it seems as if if you're involved in academia, you get it, where people want to protect their reputation and their legacy and I'm the guy who has defined that history started 3000 BC. And if you come along and challenge that with new evidence, I'm going to do everything I can to sort of disenfranchise you or just debunk you or anything like that.
You're making my life harder. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Göbekli Tepe. Anybody who's listening, go look up Göbekli Tepe.
That's in Turkey.
Yes, it is in Turkey.
Göbekli Tepe.
And I think they've only excavated, 10% of it, and it's already a huge city. and they've already done carbon dating on it, and it goes back over 10,000
There's
years
a show
ago.
on Netflix called Atiye. It's just like a Turkish name, but it's about this girl who is involved in the archaeology of Göbekli Tepe.
Oh, cool. What is it
and
called?
It's called Atiye.
Oh, cool. I want to check that
You
out.
could listen to, I recommend watching it with the actual Turkish audio and just put
Nice,
English
yeah.
subtitles.
I love that shit, yeah.
Honestly, I did that, and besides it was a great practice for Turkish, but I was actually, and I do that with shows that are shitty sometimes, just for practice.
Was this a
but I
shitty
was
show?
actually intrigued by the show.
Okay, yeah. But that's my point where it's sort of...
It's a good show, and it got into the history. It was intriguing.
And the problem is that it doesn't fit into the standard model of, history, civilization started 4,000 BC. Farming and agriculture in cities started 5,000 years ago or whatever. And
I don't know that. Somebody told me that. Maybe that's wrong.
apparently so.
I saw archaeologists recently. They were saying that the Sphinx and the pyramids are way older than they originally thought.
Robert Skoke or whatever his name
They
is.
tell you to wear masks, not to wear masks for the coronavirus. Then they say wear masks. Maybe they're going to be like, oh, like the Tigris and Euphrates rivers where it all started. And then they'll be like, actually, no, we fucked up. It was in China.
Well, that's
like,
that's
I don't know.
That's a theory with coronal mass ejection. Was that
Corona mass ejection?
Corona?
Oh God! Oh God! It is from the corona, the star of the sun.
It's always been Corona. Don't you see?
They existed and they got essentially wiped out and humanity got reset. So yeah, there's a lot of shit like that I think we like to think that we have. This is true of human history. If you go back to ancient Rome, for most of ancient Rome's history, if you were a Roman citizen in the Roman Republic, you thought this is it. We are at the pinnacle of human advancement. This is as
cutting edge.
We're going to
baby.
keep going. Everything, all this shit that we're building is going to last forever.
You're not going to
We're
picture
here
this
right now.
device.
No, but
I'm holding up my iPhone.
that device doesn't matter because guess what? You still have slaves that pull elevators.
But if you had the
Doesn't
power
matter.
of this device and you were in ancient Greece, you would be like insanely powerful. Just imagine if you could look up reality at the level of my iPhone.
Well, your Wi-Fi wouldn't work in ancient Greece. But
no,
have
I'm
internet,
saying
you
like
wouldn't
provided
exist.
those details worked,
well, think
but
of
I
it,
just lived
think
there.
of it this way: you have access on your phone right now to essentially, and I can't even calculate how much more information than the greatest libraries.
But it's not
of
just
those
the
eras.
information, it's the way that I can access it. It's not even conceivable to someone who only has lived in
It's
ancient
not
Greece.
even. It's not only is it not conceivable; it's not explainable. Like I wouldn't even know how to explain it. to
Have you ever
somebody.
tried to
Well,
explain
so-
something to like someone from like a different language and
Yes.
then you get to like a failure point where you're like,
Yes.
I have no other words that will successfully
You just need ESL
jump this
training.
gap, you know? No, I'm quite good at it, but sometimes it's just complicated
No,
enough where
I'm
you go,
saying, yeah.
there's no word for this.
It's not easy. Yeah,
It's a
Like there's no
given.
subtlety
word,
that
yeah.
gets
yeah.
at
It's the
this.
problem with literary
it-
translation too.
Totally.
Yeah,
You
It
missed
might
the,
be-
the meat.
yeah. Historical translations. Yeah.
I think Joe is right. To get us back on topic, the Göbekli Tepe is still very undiscovered, like unexcavated, I think is the term. And I bet they find Squatch carvings and stuff because they found symbols.
Might.
They found
How much would you bet?
No, Johnny's
Because
just tying it back.
it could just be coincidence. They found symbols carved.
How
into
nice of
these-
you to say it might be.
Your subtle disclaimers are crushing at this episode.
I love how you frame it like there's a 10% chance it's a coincidence,
may or may
and
not be a
90%
Sasquatch.
chance it's a Sasquatch.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
That's all. So they found symbols carved into these monolithic stone structures in Göbekli Tepe, which the fact that the carving held up,
Yeah.
they knew what they were doing.
But they also have boreholes, and they
Advanced,
they
stuff
couldn't
that
have hunter
equipment
gatherers couldn't have done that.
we're way off on when that technology was
Yes,
invented.
correct.
So it throws everything else into question. But some of those symbols on those stones have been found in Aboriginal cultures in the traditional tattoos that they do and the body modifications in parts of Africa and stuff that people do. The scarification, that have you seen that stuff?
They'll like
Where you
lip stuff.
you
and the
beat
earlobe
yourself,
stuff.
or you'll beat yourself up, take a dead branch, like a a tumbleweed thing and hit yourself until your skin's like raw, and then they'll like draw designs in it so it scars a certain way. So it's like a weird living. It's sort of an oral tradition version of that, though. It's a way to record images. It's very Westworld, also. I think that's where they got that from.
Amazing.
But like some of those images are
that.
I'm saying some of those images are in Göbekli Tepe that have been underground for thousands of years. So the idea that there was some type of global civilization at some point, I think there's something to that.
I believe it.
I think, so they must have known about the Squatch. We need to get their hard drives, isn't my thing.
You think they had hard drives?
Or crystals, something to
Okay.
store information on.
But think about how much of that shit is underwater, because anything past or earlier
it's all
than,
gone.
than 9,000 or so BC, it would have been I forget, but if you look, I forget how much the sea levels rose after the last ice age, but there was a substantial period up until very recently, about 10,000 years ago, where the coastlines were you could walk to Australia.
Well, and they say
The sea levels were so much
Atlantis
lower.
was theoretically like off the coast of Portugal or something. It was
They say
underwater.
lots of things like that.
But it's
yeah.
the same idea. There could have been vast civilizations.
The
that are
Azores
just now
were bigger.
underwater. Yeah,
But you know what else Atlantis could have been? Lord of the Rings of its era.
it could have been. Yeah, which is
that's
what
that's
was
the
that
one thing
era
that
like?
bothers me.
Well, no, my favorite is that humans were so advanced that we had technology to travel to other planets, and then we fucked up, so that there are more advanced humans out there than us.
And they're
Do you think we got
now
a little-
they feel bad and they're trying to figure out how to interact with like the humans they left behind. They didn't realize they
might
were
not even have-
survivors.
they might not even have come back yet.
Do you think
They
we
might
just got a
we're
little
all still
too
dead.
we got a
They're
little
just busy
too
doing their
antsy,
own thing.
and then someone outside, another
When would they have left
species,
though, and why would they
alien
leave so
species?
far?
I think isn't that the theory in India that there was a nuclear war or something? Like
Yeah,
a long time ago, because there's certain isotopes or something that they've excavated, and there's stories in the what's the Hindu
Bhagavad Gita.
yeah of basically spaceships and
Oh God!
You know,
and are we doomed to
like,
repeat that?
Yeah,
Well, we might be on like a larger cycle than we know.
right.
This coronavirus
Yeah,
stuff has
like a
definitely made me
real-
think like we might be heading towards the chaos rebirth part of the cycle.
Do you know what's scary about that? We're long overdue.
I know, that's what I mean. Like even just from nature, and nature is chaos.
Kind of makes you feel better about killing all the fish and the animals and stuff.
makes
right?
me feel
It's like
better about everything.
A solar
I do,
flare
I
is
guess.
coming in the next 10,000 years. It's going to wipe it out anyways.
But
It's like, all right, I should have air conditioning.
But the scary thing is that we have a chance.
Turn it down.
Do we, though?
That's the
Isn't that what everyone thought?
I think that's the tragedy of the modern human experience, is that we feel as if we have a chance to break the cycle, right? We have a chance to go to Mars, and if we
But
fuck
like
up
you
here,
said,
we
hasn't
preserve
everyone
humanity.
thought that?
I think so. But the question is, are we actually there yet?
Who's right?
We might need to go through another like disaster.
Dude, that's
What
where
if
Eric
there's-
Weinstein would say,
Hey,
we need to crack
what
physics.
if-
We need to unify and figure out fully what is the source code of reality, and then we
But-
can manipulate it.
What if there's
Like
what if we did it though? and
grand
we are on
universal
Mars,
theory.
and they just said we're going underground, we're locking it up, so solar things aren't an issue. What if they did it on Earth? What if you go deep enough, you
I
can
mean, that
find
probably
the
existed
civilizations?
already, right?
What if there's lizard people living near the core of the Earth already,
Or another-
getting all the energy they need from sapping it from our core, ultimately
Or
killing
another
the
planet nuked us back to the Stone Age.
And guess who works their medieval like treadmill hamster wheels to power their machines? All of the imprisoned Squatches, like those poor Wookiees were in Han Solo's Solo story. From
Oh, yeah,
Star
that's
Wars,
right.
the
You
movie.
think you
yeah,
think
they
he'd
were
do
using
something?
forced Wookiee labor. They're
George
definitely
Lucas?
doing that.
Oh
Yeah.
God!
George Lucas is a little Wookiee. He's also a
Oh,
cokehead.
he's
Think
like
he's
an
a
ape.
Sasquatch in disguise.
So did I?
What if
ever,
the Sasquatch is walking among us?
They could if
like
if,
right?
if
Oh my
you
God.
buy into the
That
I don't know.
That is true too.
This is another theory. Let's hear it, John.
Oh, you got another one?
No, I just remembered about.
You think when you
Chewbacca.
see that
There's a-
like hairy guy at work, and you're like, God damn, that guy's got a lot of chest
Oh,
hair.
that's-
a
He's
Sasquatch?
taking notes on me,
That's
man.
like Trailer Park Boys.
I see
Do you
him over
remember
there.
That's him in a
with
human
Sam
costume. He hides
Wasco
some of
in
his
Trailer
hair.
Park Boys?
He's observing.
One of the characters becomes a Sasquatch. Basically, he just becomes homeless and moves into a cave.
Oh, Sam Wasco.
and he's just
yeah.
a really hairy dude.
who growls
It's
and
a
grunts at
Squatch.
people.
Yeah. And
Some
he's
people, it
and he
stinks.
just drinks when he can, and he just crawls around in a cave and scraps. And then eventually, animal control comes and tranquilizes him and takes him away to like the pound or whatever, because they don't realize he's a human.
him
They think
tagged.
he's
Just
a
a
bear.
very hairy
He was-
homeless
He's a
human.
weird looking bear.
Yeah. So that's entirely possible too. That's definitely a thing.
So here's another one that I think is reasonable. And it was a great comic book.
I love his commentary on like prepping his theories.
Let's hear it. What do you got?
Well, this isn't a pure news show. This is an opinion show. So
No, this is
I'm going to
not
tell you how I feel.
This is not a pure news anything.
Exactly.
Or a show of any kind.
Oh, God,
So
it's
there's a
much
great
different than
comic
my
book
other
that
podcast.
came out a few years ago where Han Solo and Chewbacca are flying the Millennium Falcon, and they hit a wormhole because they're trying to get away. So they do like a whole thing you're not supposed to
Wait,
do,
what is
and they
this, a movie?
hyperdrive through a black hole. Han Solo and Chewbacca.
In
And
Solo
they
Story?
come
It's a
out
comic.
and They,
No.
Oh.
they crash in the Pacific Northwest in like the 1880s.
Oh God.
And
Oh God.
Han dies in the crash, and the Falcon is just damaged, and Chewbacca doesn't know how to time travel. So he realizes, I'm just stuck here. So he spends the next couple of hundred years, I think it might have been the 1700s, he spends the next couple of hundred years just hanging out in the Pacific Northwest, helping out, the natives, I guess, being Chewbacca, doing his thing. And then eventually this archaeologist goes to find him, and he finds the remains of the Millennium Falcon. And there's an awkward moment where Chewbacca meets Indiana Jones in this comic book.
Wait, this is a real comic?
Yeah, it's in a great comic book.
pretty
I
tight.
forget.
Oh
who
my
made
God,
it,
that's
but-
amazing. I really want
And
to
then-
find this
right
online.
on.
And
Agree.
but Chewbacca is just like something about this Indiana Jones. I like him, and he just leaves him be. And India's like, I'm not bringing this one back. I'm gonna let it go. It's a dude. It's not.
It belongs
A gold-
in a
in-
forest.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a
museum.
gold cross. It's a guy. So they go their separate ways. But in that one, Chewbacca is the Bigfoot.
But there's only one, so there's only one.
There's
Bigfoot?
just the one. But he lived for hundreds of years.
So it's
'cause
the
he's
grand
an alien
uni-
Chewbacca.
unified
Multiple
Star
sightings,
Wars
yeah.
Bigfoot theory. I like that.
'Cause then you'll stretch over
Wait,
generations.
so in
of
this
folklore,
version
yeah.
of reality, Star Wars is also real?
No. That's in another dimension.
Okay.
we're
Yeah, this is
idiot.
this
Yeah.
reality, Luke.
Okay.
They came through a
You
portal to
fucking
this.
idiot.
wormhole. Yeah.
My bad. I
But
forgot
also
about
Indiana
portal
Jones.
theory.
Obviously,
Did I ever tell you guys about mole people?
you've told.
What do you
us
mean by
about
tell us about? Like your time with them?
I remember like a beta episode where we were talking about mole people.
Oh God.
Are you talking about the New York City ones or the
No, my
crazy
dad. My
Zionist
dad invented
conspiracy
this
theory people?
like species of
Oh
like,
no, they're real.
Sasquatch like people
No,
called mole
they're,
people.
They're real, dude. They live in
Invented
the Manhattan
or
subway
thought
system.
of?
Yeah, there's real urban like ones.
Yeah, dude. They live. They
No,
live,
these were in Port Jeff Station.
I don't know about that so much.
No, he got abducted.
Okay, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Go
keep
on.
going.
Start from the beginning. It was a cold and rainy day.
I'll need some whiskey.
Oh man.
We were just young boys. No, so my dad would always like when we were looking for a scary story, he always turned to a mole people story.
Wait, he had multiple mole people stories.
No, he had a whole like novel.
Series.
He should- if he were
start from the beginning.
Yeah, just
give us
go.
Give us the greatest hit,
Roll the clip.
or the first one or whatever.
we camped out in my backyard.
No,
So
this can't miss.
we set up a tent in my backyard as
Johnny
kids.
looks so interested.
It was like me and my brothers and my dad. My mom slept inside. I think my dad even just left us and slept inside once we were asleep
Yeah,
and came out like 6 a.m. It was like
Pro move
morning.
right
time to hose off the kids. Yeah,
Of course.
But we slept in a tent out in the backyard, and as we were falling asleep with flashlights in the tent, he told the story of the mole people. And the mole people were people that lived underground, and they were basically like us, but they had really small eyes and they hated the light. And he said him and his friends were playing in the woods one day, and they pissed off the mole people somehow, and they grabbed them and just started dragging them down. And he said they tied them to this table, and they were underneath the Taco Bell in Port Jeff Station.
that's so specific.
And they like did experiments on them and stuff, and then like he was able to get free and got out, and then he was like, "All right, good night." And we were
See
just
you in
like
the morning.
falling asleep in the tent, like the fucking mole people, the fucking mole people. But
So best case scenario, your dad's kind of a jerk. Worst case scenario, he was definitely molested in some basement in Port Jeff Station.
In no
right?
scenario, yeah, in no scenarios are there mole
it may or
people.
may not have been close to the Taco Bell.
Right.
No, but like
They got him Taco Bell afterwards to say, if you tell anyone, we'll kill you. This didn't happen. Yeah. Something like that.
And he never ate Taco Bell again.
yeah, for some reason he hated Taco Bell.
Yeah.
No, we ate a lot of Taco Bell growing up.
That's a dark story to tell a child.
in the
but if
backyard
you-
camping trip.
it spread around our social group. So like, I have this fake uncle who's like, we call uncle, like not a real uncle, but he's writing like a memoir book, like of short stories of his life. Like he's
Sounds
the guy
awful.
with ALS that started like the Bride for Life thing.
Oh, nice.
And I guess I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was like, yeah, like he called me and said like, oh, I want to like ask you if I can like use something from your life like in my short stories, like
Oh, he
something.
called you?
He called my dad.
Oh, okay.
He's like, something came to my mind about the stories you used to tell like your kids and like our kids, like as they were sitting together or whatever. My dad's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, the mole people. My dad was like,
What?
oh my God, the mole people.
Oh
He's
my
like,
God.
yeah, for some reason, all the kids were like enthralled with your story about the mole people. And when he reminded me of this like a couple days ago, I realized how much of my psyche is like geared towards like maybe there's mole people.
Mole people,
Before
man.
gestation under the Taco Bell.
Reasonable doubt.
Like when I walk around at night, I'm kind of like, mole people, mole
Yeah.
people.
Well, it's this idea. It comes
But-
back to the core of the other, right?
I was going to say that's.
Well, I'm saying that's in my
the main
psyche
idea of the
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch,
Yeah.
which people would go for
it's the
generations
unknown in
telling
your
their
psyche.
children these cautionary tales of a beast
Yeah.
walking and lurking.
Because
in
guess
the
what?
Pacific
It's
Northwest
mostly
or other
true.
forests.
Don't go
Yeah.
out in the woods. There could be something that kills you.
No, but there are things
Right?
that kill you. It doesn't matter if it's a Sasquatch
Call
or a
them a
wolf.
mythical
Sasquatch. It's even better.
Sasquatch.
Well, because that's
You'll be
in
scared.
it's in addition to a wolf, which will actually kill you.
All
All
the
right, so
things-
it's like a Sasquatch. If you meet a Sasquatch, what would you do? Same thing with an alien. What would you do? Would you freak out? Would you try to talk to it?
depends. If it had an
Try
iPhone
to be
like 37,
realistic,
I'd be
though.
like, oh shit.
How would it be? It's kind of difficult
What
to
kind of
not
drugs
bug
do I
out
have
a
on
little
me?
bit if
Yeah.
you have some little short little alien with big, like, giant bulbous
There's-
black eyes staring
here's
at
a
you.
question,
That's
yeah.
a little freaky. Even if you're like, oh yeah, I talked to the aliens.
Would you
I
rather
asked
run
them
into one of
questions.
those big eye aliens or a Sasquatch in the woods?
Big out aliens, because the big
Why?
out alien would be like, "Hey, take this
Hey, you
pill
hear about
and you'll
Sasquatch?"
understand."
No.
Why would he
might
do
be-
that, Luke?
might-
Wouldn't he much rather be like, "Oh, great, I'm gonna just digitize your kidneys real quick
Yeah.
because that's interesting."
no,
to
I
me."
think
He might
And
have
you're
given
like,
your
"What?
aunt
Ah."
you.
I think
Oh,
if he
man.
made it to Earth, he'll be like
Freaky.
spiritually enlightened.
Why would you think
You
that?
think
That's
so?
a bold
What about
assumption.
us?
Why you're
think
here?
That's what he would do.
Yeah, you're here and you're not. Why would he be?
But he also just might just talk like, and you might not understand.
And then
it.
like I say something back, and he raises some like weird thing that looks like a gun, but not quite a gun. And I'm
it's
like,
like a
oh
scanner,
god.
and it just melts you. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah,
he
just
might
wants-
eat your legs and be like, "You're welcome," and you're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, that was a great favor."
Instead of chicken wings, it's human wings.
Like,
you
you don't wanna-
Now
do
you'll
that.
go to alien heaven
Like, what's a Squatch
because you have
gonna
no
do?
legs,
Run a-
and that's the if you
All right,
if you
so-
willingly let your legs get eaten, you
All right,
get into heaven,
so I'll give
and
the-
you're like, okay.
I'll give this to you. Would you
That makes
rather
no
meet?
sense.
Would you rather meet a
does.
Sasquatch or an alien, but you have like a translator in your ear? You can actually communicate with them.
I'd rather have my chance at communicating with an alien.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Who's to say a Sasquatch isn't an alien though?
They're both Squatches. No matter what choice you pick, you get Squatch.
Squatch all the way down.
Wait, so the only difference is I get a cool Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy earfish translator out of the
Yeah,
other
both
deal?
cases.
Yeah.
Oh, in both
Sure.
cases? Sick. Sign me up.
I think there's a good chance that they can be aliens. How about this? If you
Now you're just throwing shit
let's
on
say-
the wall.
Like, what's
You
good
get the
chance
money.
in
All right,
Johnny's
Luke,
calculation mind?
in this scenario, version of Would You Rather, you're a billionaire, right? You've lost your mind, as we all have begun to, I think, in this
Yeah,
group
look at
already.
Elon
So
Musk's
imagine
tweet.
what an
Yeah.
influx of billions of dollars.
Do you mean coronavirus or just like life?
Both.
No, I mean the four of us. We're all out of our minds.
I know, but I mean, do you mean like lately because of coronavirus or just generally because
No,
of life?
I'm saying our trajectory. We're going.
Okay,
So
yeah, yeah.
imagine you add billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And now you've put together like a Jurassic Park to Lost World level, like Bigfoot hunt. Like you have experts and equipment, and you're
Sounds
out
like a
there
lot of
looking
effort.
for them.
I might do that
Yeah.
if I have
It's the most
$1
dangerous game.
If you
in
had
Sasquatch.
billions of dollars, why wouldn't you be like, just to prove a point that he's not there? Be like, I'm going to do the most researched like most legit
I'm gonna sink
search for
$100 million into
finding
combing.
Bigfoot.
If you're
Guess
a
what?
multi-billionaire,
That's $400 million less wasted than Bloomberg spent on his campaign. So why not?
I'm gonna spend less
He
money than
spent
that.
so much to do nothing.
Yeah, and cover every square foot of the Pacific.
You know what he did? He
Northwest
gave
wilderness.
YouTube a lot of money.
Yeah, hire thousands of people. Just walk through, because eventually you would either find something or not, right? You would have to find them eventually. If enough people just went into the woods, right?
So that's what I'm saying, Luke.
Again, they
I
gotta go to
posing
the
it towards him 'cause
deep
he's the
woods.
most deranged, but all of you. But you guys
Excuse me?
You have your billions of dollars. You're on your expedition, and you find him. You're the one, like it's you and me. We find him, and you have that moment where you can decide: what do I do? Do I let him go? Do I try to communicate? Do I just trank him and like cage him King Kong style? Do I just shoot him in the head and get his pelt and put him in a blender or whatever? Sell his brain to the CIA? What do you do in that moment?
I would
the
bow to
moment you
him.
find Squatch.
And he would eat you.
Would you try to communicate
go-
to him and risk him?
and
as a
he would
pack?
just walk away.
I would
and
show
that
him a
be
very
it.
respectful bow, at least 90 degrees.
But so in this situation, he hasn't seen you yet. You see him, he hasn't seen you. You have the shot. What do? Do you try?
Oh
to
no,
approach him?
no!
I have a gun?
I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Do I have a camera on me?
Mm,
No,
no.
definitely not.
Then
Definitely.
I'm just going to really.
You have
look.
a rifle with a scope. and
I'm
you
not
can
going to
either hit him with a
shoot
trank,
something
You
that
can tranquilize him.
looks like a
You can
human
shoot and
when I'm
kill
not sure
him.
what it is.
Oh, you know what it is.
It's Squatch. You have
you know it.
confirmation.
You
Why
feel
should
it.
Why should I deserve to kill Squatch?
You can trank him. You don't have to kill him.
I'm giving you options here. You
It's a
can
tranquilizer.
capture him. You can
Yeah,
kill him,
but
you
to
can
an
let him go.
alien, if you shoot him with a trank and the trank doesn't even work on alien blood, and then like they just look to their right and they see who
Alright, so
tried to
Luke's gonna-
trank them,
Dude,
Luke's gonna
Luke.
panic and just sit there and let it.
I'll
walk
sit
away.
there and close my eyes and be like,
And then the Sasquatch
Whatever.
rips your head off.
Yeah,
Oh, he
Luke's
doesn't
gonna
know I'm
try to go
there.
talk to him.
Oh, he knows. He'll figure it out eventually.
"Are you a genie?"
I've been quarantined with Tommy too long, and I've been practicing hard.
Is this like a genie temple now?
Absolutely. So what would you do, Joe?
I think I would just observe it and let him go.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
It's
That's
not what you said.
You said you would.
Think of what
you
you
said
wanted
nothing,
to say,
Luke.
but you didn't get to it.
Luke, you said less than that with a lot more words.
That's exactly what
That's a good point.
I mean, I love it. It's grade A drivel. I love it. I love Luke drivel, but that's that's what it was.
But that is what
That's
it is.
pretty
Yeah,
great.
I no, honestly, because what am I gonna do? I'm like, I see the instinct, the impulse where you could trank him King Kong style and bring him back. But what happens to King Kong? He climbs the Empire State Building. He gets shot by a bunch of awesome planes in a really cool movie scene, and then Beauty killed the Beast or some shit.
No, you know what the moral, Joe? You know what the moral of King Kong is, right? Is Beauty killed the Beast. You know what the capitalist's moral is?
What?
Should have got better chains. That's the real moral of the story.
That is the real
That's how
moral
a
of the story.
businessman sees that movie. You had better chains, you would have made so much money off that angry monkey man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like just get better chains.
That's why Jurassic Park and Westworld keep reopening.
Yeah.
If you could find, if Squatch was real, that's the thing. Once you see it, you're like, don't you feel like, well, someone's going to get him? What if they choose to kill him? Shouldn't you try to communicate with him or try to warn him or
I would,
protect him or be like, hey man, you can come stay with me. I'm a billionaire.
It's the
Like, I'll
question.
get you your own
Yeah.
forest. And
It's the question of the inevitable.
have rangers protect you.
I'll buy you a
I would.
forest.
I would try to get.
I'd get him his own personal security. If I found a Squatch, I'd be like, you get a park ranger watching your back with a high-powered rifle protecting you from hunters and maniacs at all times.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Actually, sort of. Do you ever see the movie Apocalypto?
Yeah.
with the Aztecs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Great
a pretty
movie.
crazy movie. But I actually think the best part of that movie is the very, very end of the movie, where they go through the. It's an insane movie, right? And then at the very end, they win. Kind of, the guy gets his family back. He makes it, and they're safe. And the very last scene are these essentially. I assume it's Spanish people getting off a rowboat with the ship off the coast, and the priest or whatever is blessing with the cross, and they don't know what they've just seen some insane shit because they were in Aztec, Mesoamerica during that time, but they have no idea what that is. That is aliens basically landing, and I think the guy's wife says to her husband, she says, "Oh, should we go, say hi, see what's up?" And he goes, I forget exactly what he says, but essentially he says, nah, let's, go live our lives and not deal with that. And it's sort of this idea that is so weird that we know it's a big thing.
Yeah, I'm okay with not dealing with that.
Yes, I'm okay with not dealing with it.
Going to be content and at peace.
Yes,
not doing
even though
that.
I know it's going to have to be dealt with. Sort of, it's kind of and that's obviously inevitably what happens, right? So obviously, this is something that is going to be a big factor. It's going to have huge ramifications, but you still have the choice to sort of like live your own life or find your own path. And that's kind of how I feel about Sasquatch. Like, okay, cool, I know he's real. I don't really care if other people believe me whether or not he's real. And I think that's
you know yourself that he's real.
Yeah.
Essential. That you experienced
it's about the journey.
But there's something to the conspiratorial, or call this folklore, lorist type people. They want to bring more people into their fold.
But that's a different...
And that's a personality.
Yes, exactly. That's a different motivation.
But conspiracy theory people seem to all share that personality trait, or maybe it's just like comes along with the idea of a conspiracy.
If you're categorizing...
To want people to believe with you. You feel like your belief is more true.
You can believe in Sasquatch and not be a conspiracy theorist.
Well, that's why I was asking before, like, what's the distinction between... Because there are conspiracy theories that have turned out to be completely true.
Sure, yeah.
And there are theories like Sasquatch, there are elements to Sasquatch which you could definitely say are conspiratorial.
Sure.
Like somebody would have to be hiding something in an organized way.
Not necessarily. North America is huge. There's a lot of open woods still. Like up in Canada.
There's been too many years of people going into the woods. Why isn't there one?
Few people in the Yukon territory because they don't want to be seen. These are the ones that decided to hide.
But we all have fucking iPhones. There should be 4K video in perfect daylight.
There's no iPhones in in Nineveh. There's no iPhones up there.
They move really fast too.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, and they don't want to be seen. They have better hearing than you. They can smell you coming.
Yeah, guess what? They don't have F-18s.
You walking in the woods is the same as you trying to like sneak up on a fish. Like you are so out of your element. The idea that you're going to swim
But I've never
up to a
wanted
fish without
to try
it
to
seeing
sneak
you.
up on a fish.
Luke, there's no way you're sneaking up on a fish in the harbor.
If I was given
There's
the
no
right
way
technology,
you could ever sneak up.
You don't have the right technology.
But if I was given it,
nobody's giving you that. I'm not trusting you with that.
You can't even name it.
I'm not trusting you with a
radar.
Technology.
Yeah, I'm not trusting you with a spearfish gun to go out into the harbor and hunt for fish, Luke. No way.
But no, that's that's the same as you trying to catch a Sasquatch. The idea that you're going to just see him in the woods when he doesn't want to be seen or she doesn't want to be seen is laughable when you consider the skills of Sasquatch's disposal.
I like gender equality for Sasquatch.
So, Johnny, what would you do if you found the Sasquatch, came across him in the woods in your scenario?
Did I even get that sentence out?
I would try to communicate with it.
Would you? I was going to say, I would sit down. I would try to wave it down, start like a fire or something.
I'm a Star Trek guy, yeah, so the idea of first contact is exciting.
Right,
I'd have to try to make first
contact. I would try.
Aren't there very specific rules to first contact, though?
Yeah, but I'm not Starfleet. I'm a guy in a t-shirt out there with money looking for a Sasquatch.
He lives in Oregon, that's all.
Fair enough. I mean,
that's your only qualification. Are you in the Pacific Northwest?
Start crushing some beers with Sasquatch? Are you kidding me?
What does it say on
the
your
stories you'd hear, man.
Yeah.
You got a car and some time, you can go hunt Squatch.
Yeah, but they don't know English. Oh, they can communicate.
They'll figure it out.
Well, I mean, in Harry and the Hendersons, he speaks at the end of the film, and that's pretty much a documentary. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh my God! John Lithgow hits a Sasquatch with the family car outside of Seattle and takes it home and is going to sell it to the zoo or whatever. Then realizes it's a person and then saves him from a hunter. But he says thank you and goodbye at the end. And it's like at the end of the movie, you're like, whoa, he learned English in like a week. That's amazing. Why are you sending him back in the woods?
Like, whoa, his brain changed form to be able to speak a language.
Well,
but also he. When he leaves at the end of the movie, a couple of Squatches come out of the woods to be like, hey, buddy, to meet him. And then they disappear.
That. They should have just poor guy.
No, I think they can hear cars coming. They're pretty smart. That's why they don't get hit like deer do. That's why you've never hit a Squatch on the road. They know to stay away from roads.
He's got an answer for everything.
Go ahead, try another one.
Why is there no Squatch shit? If they're walking around in the woods, shouldn't there be huge piles of Squatch
Decomposes.
No, they bury it.
Yeah.
Like they're dead?
Yeah, they're herbivores, so they take often small shits often probably.
Bathroom bandits.
That's actually a way better answer than I
dissipate.
expected.
They just dissipate. Yeah.
That's actually more reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know enough about shits or herbivores to, well, other than myself.
One of the things
confirm or deny
I
that.
learned today, like yet again from like getting into any conspiratorial thing.
You mean from not doing your job, but okay, go on.
Yeah, like I said, I started this research
This is
while
kind of a
teaching.
job.
I literally started this research while teaching. This kid's a mess. So, anyways,
Welcome.
what
to the
I
world,
learned
Richie.
is,
Way to promote
you guys
this.
know that Aristotle quote? It says something.
Great guy.
It's something like, like the important thing is to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Like the skill is in like play with the thought before you've decided you accept it as true. Like to be able to genuinely go, if this were true, how would I think? And then run with that. Whereas a lot of people either have to be like, this
Absolute
is true,
in
this
their
is what I
decision of
think,
yes or no,
or
yeah.
that's already
Right,
false.
yeah.
And
Right.
for the Sasquatch thing, when I run the if this were true, I find a lot of like data that goes along with that. Great, right? Like it's not the worst conspiracy. There's a lot of stuff there. But then the other part of my brain comes online and goes, okay, but like all of this is depending on a very flimsy if this were true thing, which is like there's no like heavy duty scientific evidence of it
But
at
isn't
all.
But
that,
think
isn't
about
that
though, the-
element of believing it just that innate human
I
folklore
love the
feeling you
belief
feel?
part.
Feels
And it's
good- it feels good to
You know,
believe.
probably, maybe not, but it might. You never know. It
I'm
might.
not saying it doesn't feel good to believe,
but
and I
I mean-
totally believe
And
in
there's
belief.
such a there's an amusement with that kind of just exercise of thought, but
And another question would be, does that make it not real? I would say if millions of humans around the world believe in something, who the fuck are you to say that's not real? What is real?
is it real in its essence just because that many people believe?
That's what I mean. Is
The idea
real
of
this
it is
beer that I
real.
can
No, it's
touch?
real because he's
I don't
hiding
know.
from us.
Could
Well,
be.
that's
Who
one
knows?
version of how it could be real. But even if it's just an idea in people's minds, but we all believe in it and we all act out that belief,
That's
that might
real
be
in
real.
its essence. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's so much of history is people believing in something and then acting it out. And then, okay, it's almost as if it were real because we all pretended it was real and acted out the consequences of if this were real, this is how we would act. So,
But also, like, we're looking in places where it would be hard to find evidence. Like the reportings are swamps, and the Pacific Northwest is a rainforest. Like I live in a rainforest west of the mountains here.
It's Endor,
And
or the
it's
forest
not
near
hot.
Endor.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not crazy hot in like a jungle, but the amount of water and just growth here and trees, it's considered a rainforest. So that doesn't leave great, records of stuff. Think about all the ancient Amazonian civilizations, and they think that there were cities with hundreds of thousands of people that were just wiped out. They all died from disease and smallpox, and then the jungle just destroyed it within
jungle
100
eats
years.
all.
It was just gone.
Yeah.
how would you compare your belief in Sasquatch with that of like the
'Cause
Loch
they
Ness
live
monster?
they live in
Oh,
these
I know
hostile
what that-
climates where I'm just saying you wouldn't be able to find easy records of them.
No, I know. I'm saying like that. Let's just kind of zoom out and like, where does your belief in
Yeah.
Sasquatch compare to other monster type folklore, like the Loch Ness monster?
Well, I don't know about it being in Loch Ness, but we just already covered that, I think, with the giant squid. The idea that there's things in the ocean we haven't seen yet, totally. So
Yeah.
there could be giant Cthulhu-type
Do you know what the
monsters
Loch Ness
down
monster
there.
was, though?
A log?
No, it was a
I thought that was a bipedal thing.
No, it was a combination of really good scotch, and there was a circus, a traveling circus, and an elephant escaped. And if you look at any videos of elephants going across rivers, they can sort of walk or
Yeah,
swim.
they're like a submarine.
Yeah, they're like a submarine, and their head will
Yeah.
kind of bob, and their trunk will kind of go out to breathe.
They
like a
periscope the
submarine. Dude, I
trunk
swear to
for
God,
air,
it
yeah.
looks like we
Yeah,
can't
that's-
handle it.
you can,
and it looks like
they
it looks like
found, he's right. They
if you're
found elephants
wasted on
swimming
the shore and
off
you
the-
see that
yeah.
from afar, you think, "Oh my God, that's Loch Ness
that's a
looking
good point.
monster.
And it's just an elephant crossing the river.
Right.
So we've been dancing around the term. I don't think we've said it. Definition of cryptid: an animal such as a Sasquatch or Loch Ness monster that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist. Contrary to popular belief,
Right.
cryptids don't have to be supernatural, mythical, or even at all that strange. Though
They can
many
be
popular
totally natural,
creatures
yeah.
acquire these characteristics as their legend grows.
Well, that's like the colossal squid, as we were discussing.
And
right?
And it could
theoretically,
have grown into the Kraken
as
mythology.
their evolution
Right, yeah, yeah.
grows,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So there's some real
believe that
version of
100%.
these creatures, and then the exaggeration of the legend
Yes,
puts
Right.
goes on
Because isn't
top
that
of
the
that.
thing
Emphasis to it.
about giant squids
An
is
edge
that
to
you
it.
don't see them because they're huge, but they have to be like at the pressure for the depth they're at.
Right.
They can't like come up to the surface like a whale and smash into you because it's just how they're built. And so so the idea that maybe somebody found a giant dead squid after a storm
They do,
and a
yeah.
smashed
They
up
walk
ship
up.
and just connected the two, or like something else, you hit a reef and then you saw a dead squid on the island that you washed up on. You're like, oh wow, we must have fought.
But that's
the
also
squid.
what happens with stories.
like-
it's
Yeah,
like telephone.
exactly.
You
Legend
tell one
grows.
person, all of a sudden the squid goes from 10 feet to 15 feet to 20 feet. It's a 100-foot squid all of a sudden, right? Within a few tellings of the story.
And you know why it's a 100-foot squid?
'Cause it's
Because
cooler.
to think that by being cooler,
It's a
means
better story.
It's more memorable,
Yeah.
which means people
It's
will
fantastical.
heed the advice of the story
Yes, right.
and survive.
It's the wood story, the sort of
comes back to
cre-
fairy tales. Yeah.
coming back to the specter in the woods.
Absolutely.
But do you know why those tales are such a
Cautionary
thing?
tale.
It's because to those groups of, let's say, like human-like primates that told stories that were true enough, this is the sort of like, okay, objective truth is something a physicist would study at CERN or something. Sure, yeah, electrons doing this. If you're just trying to survive
Yeah.
on the African plain or on the American plain or wherever,
Yeah.
the stories that you tell, if they're true enough, they'll make you survive.
Well, there's
Believe
I've
in
seen
monsters
bizarre enough
and you'll
things.
survive.
I've seen weird enough things to believe that.
there's an evolutionary
story.
There's an evolutionary fitness to it, which is what
that's
comes-
the nuclear porcupine thing, right?
Yeah, it's all about fitness. It's called a metaphorical truth in evolutionary psychology. It's that this is not literally true, but if I were to believe it were true, I'll help you out, Joe, if you need to get out. Joe's trying to get out and he realizes there's cords everywhere. You want me to uncross my legs?
Yeah, I need to pee. You guys got this.
All right.
What do you got?
All right. So, literal truth versus metaphorical truth.
Oh God.
A metaphorical truth for a biological organism is something that if you were to believe it were true, meaning you would act out the belief, you would act out what you think is true, it will help you survive, right? It could be literally false, right? So, for example, let's say you imagine that the prickles of the porcupine are poisonous. Now, they're not, right? They just suck.
But it's a big inconvenience to encounter.
It's a big
porcupine in
inconvenience,
that
right?
sense.
It's
Yeah,
not going to
of
help you
course.
bang your
Right.
fucking let's say you're a turtle.
Right.
or
Are there
a-
ravens?
No, turtle's a bad
Are
example.
there ravens picking out your eyes and
Yeah.
wolves pretending to be your grandma in the woods? No, but you should probably stay away from the wolves
Right.
and the
the
ravens
lesson
in
there
the
is be
forest.
careful of the woods.
Yeah.
Be careful of the chaos because in the chaos lurks danger that will kill you.
Right.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
an exaggeration on it, but with some sort of basis that it's, or some sort of truth that it's based on.
And then it comes down to what do you mean by the word truth, right?
Right.
If you mean that it helps you survive, then it's definitely true.
It's truth in itself. Not that the truth is literal,
That's why
That's
it's
what
a
the
metaphorical
cautionary
truth.
Right. Thank you.
Cheers. So a metaphorical truth is something that if you believe it, it will help you survive. It doesn't matter whether it's objectively true, right? So I forget what's the school of philosophy
You
where
can argue
it's-
most
it's
truths
just-
could be the metaphorical truth then, in that sense, depending how you're looking
well,
at it.
this is how like certain like philosophy will get into an argument with other philosophy. Like it's like, what do you mean by true? Is true surviving,
define
or is
it, yeah.
true what you can objectively prove? Like, I don't.
I have some.
I think it's a sliding
For
scale,
example,
but
I don't
yeah.
think Sasquatch is objectively true, but I think it's metaphorically true. Like if you act like there's monsters in the woods, you'll live longer. You know what I mean? And look,
It's not a bad thing to assume. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt your evolution.
there's a low cost.
Yeah.
Don't go out in the woods when it's dark.
Yeah. Because people
Yeah,
do
but-
die.
But we do go into the woods all the time because
Well,
we killed all the wolves.
Somebody needs
We
to go into
need
the
to
woods,
though
yeah.
because
We have guns. We have guns and flares and flashlights and all sorts of
But
support
Johnny,
systems,
like when we go to the
rangers and
cabin,
helicopters. We have all sorts of things now. So yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, just not on the level of like the species, but on our own psychological level. When we go to the cabin, like that your wife's family
Right.
has, we spend time hiking into the woods and almost getting lost because we like to go into the unknown and feel like, oh my God, this is like a little bit risky. We could get lost. We could encounter nature. Even though it's a low risk there, it's riskier than being in a shopping center or
Well,
something.
it's more real, right? Because if you think about that on a very
It's more primal.
It's
on a
primal.
very tangible level,
It,
like
it hits levels.
what is
deep.
society? What
Yeah.
are you surrounded by? You're surrounded by a lot of, I mean, wood. If you think about it that way, a lot of physical matter or earth.
Well, that's
matter.
what they call the concrete jungle if you're in a city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was stuff that was alive. We murdered it, and now we surround ourselves in it in temples, and we worship it.
I mean, yeah, and then we do Christmas where we worship a tree that's like a corpse version of it
Yeah.
for a while. we share presents that we hide under it. Like that's pretty weird.
And then a
You look
guy
at it
who
from the
brings
tree's point of view.
mushrooms that you trip on, and his name
Yeah,
is Saint Nicholas.
I love that you
comes
pay
in.
attention to my Christmas rants every year about mushroom Santa. But so I have a theory now that I want to run by you guys because I think, mark my words, I'm making a prediction here.
Mark my
All right, I'm
Mark
writing it
Mark
my
my
down.
words.
I like
Sasquatch
how you
words.
2020.
Slowly worked his
I
way
got my
up.
pen, John.
He
Let's
slowly
go.
worked his way up over the course of this episode to mark my
He's got a
words.
pen. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
this is it.
So I'm taking notes, guys. I got Squatch notes. Yeah.
All right, what do you
Notes,
got?
It's going to go in an archive one day.
I believe
No, it's not.
if things open up again by the summer, which it seems to be, everything's going to be back to open normal. This is May 2020 right now.
Yes, correct.
I think by either this summer or next summer, if depending how long things stay shut down, when everything's open up again, we're going to see an increased sightings of Squatches because it's going to be this there's this weird like life after people effect going on right now where
Absolutely.
the animals are reclaiming stuff. You're seeing like wild animal deer are coming into
Oh.
downtown areas because there's not cars everywhere, like the
Dolphins in the
highways.
Venice
There's not
Canal.
this hum of
Yeah.
human activity that we create scaring them off. So they're just like, oh, a nice quiet space. Let me check it out over here. So think about all the empty park campgrounds,
true.
and,
All the parks
like
are full.
stuff that are just empty. And the squash is like, this is cool. It's just a park bench in the middle of the woods. This is nice. It's right by the
It's
water.
like normally
Great spot.
Now,
It's so
covered
crowded.
with
Yeah.
John,
humans, but, like,
let
it's
me
been empty for a
let me
while.
posit this.
And we're gonna
What-
hit all those spots so hard. I think we have a chance of.
What if
good
the
sighting.
Squatch was perpetuating the coronavirus so they could reclaim?
the Squatch is Chinese.
You think the Squatch is Chinese in origin?
I never said that.
You know the latest update
Could've been
of
an
the
alien that
coronavirus
planted
is
it.
that they think it was here in September
Where? What do you mean here?
in the U.S.
In the
also,
US?
who's they?
It's an article that came out in the
I
Times
meant
today.
here as in Earth.
They
by
keep pushing the
aliens. I
deadline
don't know.
back. You know, Tommy, you might be right with this whole Sasquatch conspiracy thing.
I gotta.
There's
say,
a lot of evidence for it.
I got.
I think this is
stacking
going
up,
to
man.
lead to. And now that you said everyone does have an iPhone with like a good camera.
Yeah.
It was only 10 years ago. We all had like shitty
Slide
240
phones.
pixel
Yeah.
slide phones. And,
Now that we
and,
all
like,
have
flip
4K
phones.
devices in our
Yeah,
pocket,
now we
maybe
now
we'll
we all
see
have
some shit.
HD
Here's the thing,
HD
it's true.
video
Yeah.
filming.
a good point.
Phones, and we're about to go back. We've quieted the edges of society of civilization a little bit. Draw a few of them out, and then bam, we're gonna go hit them hard.
Sasquatch is noticing the
Play
drop
some
in carbon
tunes,
emissions.
flush 'em out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably noticing that too. The rivers are a little cleaner, the air's a little nicer. They're
terms
probably
of
going out more,
conspiracies,
doing
I
stuff.
will
This has
say-
been great for the Squatch economy.
Absolutely.
I will say that.
Hence why I
if-
think
if-
They're twisting
they're in on
branches
it.
like they've never twisted before.
if a conspiracy turns out to be true, Sasquatch would be one of the least surprising ones to me. If tomorrow,
That's a good point.
Right.
if
yeah.
tomorrow somebody drags in a Sasquatch body and says, "Yeah, you know
shit,
this
yeah.
thing happened,
Got him.
and I have the body,"
It'd
and
be like, so evolution was true still, but
Yeah.
it was just a little different than
guess
I
what?
imagined.
We discover new species on the evolutionary tree all the time. I would go about my day. It wouldn't shock me at all. It wouldn't
Whereas
be jarring
aliens
at all.
would shock the fuck out of you.
Well, I believe in aliens. The conspiracy to me about aliens is whether or not they are or currently are visiting us. I do believe that
Yeah,
there
it's
are
the
aliens.
it's not
Their
existence,
time scale
it's their
could be
concept.
irrelevant to you.
It's
Also,
also beyond our alien, beyond our comprehension.
Aliens, I actually
you can't even
do
think about
believe-
what they would, what
Yeah,
would they,
aliens, I
how would they
actually
carry
do believe
themselves.
I believe that they exist. Sasquatch, I'm not sure about, but I wouldn't be I wouldn't care or be surprised. I'd say, oh, that's interesting, cool. That's just part of the puzzle now in terms of evolutionary history and other species.
what you just said, the sentiment is something that this is the only thing I've grown to hate about people.
Thanks.
Not hate. No. I'm saying what you said was good. What I grew to hate about people was when they're so sure about things that they're not sure about.
Yeah.
Like, and I used to be that way when I was younger, so I shouldn't hate it. I should understand it. But
Yeah.
when somebody goes,
totally
"Oh,
get it, yeah.
Sasquatch is definitely false. You're an idiot." It's like, well, if you can't even get to the point where you have to admit, I don't like Jane Goodall was able to say, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Right.
And she was clearly just like smiling, being like, look, if I'm a scientist, I have to say I don't know. I'm going to say
Right.
I'm not convinced by any evidence,
I
but
don't
like
know
I'm
lots of
open.
things. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like
She's
you
just trying to
have,
sell books.
you have to always be open to possibilities. And one of the things I love about
Yeah,
conspiracy
I agree.
theories or Sasquatch folklore
I think
shit,
conspiracy theories are great for
it
this
keeps
reason.
your mind
Yeah.
in that like playful, like, let me just play with an idea. If this were true, how would I think? And then you play with the idea. If you can't do that, you're probably a little bit too like stuck in like
Yeah.
closed-minded.
You need to have that perspective in order to know how to experiment with your own way of thinking, right?
Yeah. How else do you solve any other problem? Like if
Yeah.
you're like, my wife's being such a bitch. It's like, what if she wasn't being a bitch and I was being a bitch? And then you're like, oh.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm just angry at my dick boss. It turns
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And I'm an asshole also.
It's
it
the
turns
same
out.
for me. It's the same mental flexibility, like to be able to go, like, all right, Sasquatch is definitely not real, and then you build all the arguments against that, and you go, okay, Sasquatch might almost definitely be real, and you build all the arguments for
You know what's
that.
funny is
like-
you're describing exactly how I also feel about religion or spirituality, where ultimately I have no idea. I actually have very little idea. If somebody asks me, oh, what do you think happens when you die? I'm like, I assume I'm dead. I have no evidence to convince me otherwise, but I'm open to interpretation. I'm open to what you think and talking about the reasons why you think what you think. I think it would be crazy.
you work
and a
at
little
CERN,
stupid.
that might help me. Like, like maybe
Sure.
they're on the cutting edge of like how consciousness emerges out of particles.
You would be somebody worth talking to, perhaps. But that's what I'm saying.
But they might
Right,
also be
right.
like, "Oh, I'm just I'm Frank from the church down
Yeah.
the street," and you'd be like, "All right, cool, Frank.
That's why
Can you get out of my apartment?"
I describe myself as Stephen Fry describes himself, because a lot of people call
I love Stephen Fry.
A lot of people call him an atheist, and he says, no, I'm not an atheist. I'm a flimpist. And when he was asked what a flimpist is, he says, I don't. He said, you could call me an atheist, but I more so just don't care because I have no way of knowing or influencing.
Yeah, it's a moot point.
Yeah, he's like, so why would I care, or why would I try to convince you of otherwise? He said, I just have no investment in it. I just have to go about living my life as well as I can. And that's how I sort of feel about.
Well, that's the
Conspiracy,
definition
too.
of atheism as a starting point. I think because so many people define or act out atheism as like attacking religion, like the other atheists that are just like open-minded have to be like, yo, atheism just means I don't believe anything without sufficient evidence. So therefore, on matters of like what is consciousness, what are humans in the grand scheme of the cosmos, I don't have an answer. So I'm undecided.
No, I think that's different. That's what an agnostic is. That's the distinction. An atheist believes in.
But I think the original term of atheist used to
that
be
might
like,
be why
there's no
there's a
starting
distinction now.
point.
Yeah, for
the
the reasons
distinction
you said,
came
yeah.
because of the misunderstanding.
Right. I don't know enough about the etymology of them, but that makes sense from where we are today.
Because like I
Yeah.
know Sam
Right.
Harris has done so much work on
Because I
trying
consider
to
myself an agnostic
reclaim.
for those reasons. Yeah,
I always tell people I'm an agnostic atheist.
I just go straight.
As just to say, like, I think what I believe is that there's nothing ultimately called a god, but I'm agnostic towards. I'm very editable in that belief.
I mean, that's all very reasonable too.
And I think it's the same, to bring it back to Sasquatch, because we should probably end this cast. I think it's the same. It's it's the same mental phenomena to like be like, do I believe in this or not believe in it?
Yeah,
you have to have the flexibility.
No, but why? Why do you have a conviction one way or the other? Is it really about Sasquatch, or is it actually about you and where you are mentally, spiritually, however else you want to break it down? And I think that's really the question that everybody has to ask themselves when they're really asking whether or not they believe in Sasquatch. It's really about how you think about thinking. That's what I think he is.
Yeah.
Joe, what if I'm right? What if I think this about Squatch?
I don't know, Johnny.
What if I'm right and my prediction comes true and they find really good video evidence and everyone's like, that's a Squatch, and they find one and all that?
I will be on your team, gung-ho,
doesn't that make you
when the
think,
evidence
though,
comes out.
What about some of the other stuff Johnny mentioned that everyone said he's crazy for? Yeah. There's some stuff in the past, surveillance for one, and privacy. I was early on that bandwagon in our generation.
He's really getting drunk.
I'm wasted on the truth.
All right, let's wrap this up. Last minute Sasquatch thoughts.
Yeah.
John, go. What do you think? Last minute.
I think I'm going to stand by what I was just saying. I think we're going to see some good evidence in the next year come out.
Yeah.
Because of weird fluctuation of human activity.
Very valid. Yes.
I think we're going to get some real concrete evidence soon.
Very good.
Yeah.
Joe,
what
do you got?
Last episode concluding Sasquatch thoughts.
Enlighten us.
All I'll say, in addition to what I previously said, is you got to believe to believe.
Got to believe to believe. Very good.
What about you,
Luke? What do you got?
I'm going to say there's something to believe, so I'm going to restate the Aristotle quote of like, you should be able to entertain a thought without committing to it. And I also want to bring up a Carl Jung quote, which is, be careful about ideas because often ideas have people. People don't have ideas. So the ideas that you adopt in your life, they can take a hold of your consciousness and you don't realize that they actually control you and not the other way around. It's not like you like have the idea, but that the idea takes a hold of you. I was watching these Sasquatch people, and it seems like they emotionally attached to the idea that Sasquatch was true, and then had to make everything around it like work.
That's why I like Les Stroud, because he was in the woods with a Sasquatch guy, and everything that came up, he said, the guy who he's with said,
that's a couple Squatches.
That's 3 Squatches. And Les Stroud was like, yeah, maybe it's not like
let's
any
break it down.
Could have been a squirrel.
But why are you saying 3? He's like, you can't just jump to that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, no, but when you say 3, it sounds more real.
Well, that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
All right, Tommy, what's your final thoughts?
Well, I have to say, if Sasquatch is listening, I appreciate you listening.
We love you,
I love you.
Sasquatch.
You're very good.
You're one of the
appreciate
best.
you. Yeah, we
One of the
spent
best.
some good stuff. If you want to correct us, absolutely come on the cast. If,
we would.
if you don't want to, that's fine too. You keep doing
We'll
you,
come to
baby.
you.
We love you. You're good. Sending lots of love Sasquatch way. That's all we need, right?
Everything you're
Bigfoot
saying
love,
is good. Yeah.
it's good. And maybe you're real, maybe you're not. I hope you are.
Once again,
That's all I
Tommy gets the message perfect.
Can I just ask one?
Yeah,
final,
he rode
got
that
it,
line
man.
between like belief and non-belief perfectly there.
Can I just ask Johnny one?
The
final,
Sasquatch might be
one final question,
insulted, but
Johnny,
like we'll get there.
what
Nah,
kind of beer do you
he's-
think
he's
Sasquatch
understanding.
likes?
Yeah. What
What?
beer would you buy? What beer would
Yeah.
you stock your fridge with?
If Sasquatch
for
is coming
Sasquatch?
over to podcast,
Probably
what
a high
beer?
percent because he's big.
Yeah.
No,
Like a
no, I
stout?
imagine.
But he's
it's
never
like,
gotten drunk ever.
I think it's like an Andre the Giant
Maybe-
kind
Yeah.
of situation, though.
No, I'm sure
Like
he's
the
got
can
like a
of beer
hollowed out
is
tree.
like
I assume
90.
he's got a hollowed out tree stump he ferments it in. So it's probably for the
I'm
sugar
sure you're
source.
sure of that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
For the sugar source, I like this game actually. This is a great question. For the sugar source, I'm sure he's using like
Like a high,
almost said
beehive
sugar
or something.
source.
like
what?
yeah, he's probably using a lot of honey.
Nice honey, yeah, that'd be
Also
good.
like
Nice honey,
he's- Honey, he's probably throwing in
honey ale or
some
something.
some grain and stuff that he finds, But
Gotta love the honey.
fruit, probably honey and a lot of berries and stuff. And then he's probably throwing some spruce tips in instead of hops.
Do you think he'd be into sour beers?
What?
Do you think he'd be into sour beers?
Oh, I'm sure he's an odoriferous man, odoriferous fella.
That's so confidently.
So I'm sure it appreciates. I mean, you live in the woods all day. You appreciate strong flavors. I'm sure. But I think it would be more of a cider mead, probably more of a mead.
Yeah, honey mead. I agree. Yeah.
Like some kind of honey berry mead.
Yeah, good
And,
vitamins.
spruce tips and some like weird, hard to get herbs and plants that he could just paw a bunch of and throw in a pot.
Yeah.
Well, you better
come
believe
back
it,
to
buddy.
a few weeks later.
I'd love to see Sasquatch's brewing setup.
Yeah.
All right.
Wedge a rock into the
right,
stump and then come back a few weeks later when it's done.
All right, Sasquatch, we love you.
Yeah.
We love you. You're good. Very good. Keep doing you. You know.
I'm gonna
Enjoy
make a
coronavirus freedom.
Squatch beer now, guys. You've convinced
I
me.
love it. I love it.
You absolutely have to.
Anybody
make a
have any
Sasquatch
last
beer.
words before I hit stop?
No, thank you guys for listening. If you haven't checked us out, check us out on what's our website?
ThunkTankPodcast.com.
And patreon.com/ThunkTank
Love it.
podcast. for
Or go to
extras.
johnny.genie.thunktank.com
No,
and
don't
it will
listen
say
to
nothing is here.
Domain
and then
not
go ahead
available.
and type in thunktank.com.
Stay.
Or just really,
God damn it.
Stay.
or just really believe.
Stay healthily skeptical.
Ooh.
There you go.
Or
That's
just
good.
believe.
That's good. That's
Absolutely.
real good. All right.
Sasquatch, we love you.
Okay.
Truth is out there.
Bye-bye now.
Luke just said a very painful, okay.
I have to pee some.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening to the Thunk Tank podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to help us out, please consider leaving a rating or a review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share it with people you think might like it. And if you really want to support us, you can go over to patreon.com/ThunkTankPodcast. We have links to this in the episode description and other places. And for as little as $1 an episode, you can help us keep the lights on. And you also get access to a very special Drunk Tank feed of episodes. So every few episodes, we'll have a few more beers and record an extra 20 to 30 minutes of extra thunky, silly whateverness. So there's a separate RSS link you can get from there. And if you put that into a podcast player, you'll get your own separate feed of only the Drunk Tanks. I think we have about 6 or 7 of them out already and more to come. Thanks for listening, and stay funky.